but we actually do know.
All right, McAllister is a spread-out type quarterback, Hoba a drop-back passer. Which is better for Michigan State and against Notre Dame?
Okay. If you take a look at McAllister, he is very quick, smart kid. Not a great arm for downfield, but he can make adjustments. They feel that he can make plays on broken plays more so than Hoba can. Now, Hoba on the other side of the coin, 6'6", Jim, can throw the ball downfield. He is their drop-back passer.
You know, you can't come to Notre Dame without the old Jerry Faust story coming up again. ESPN talked to Jerry Faust, and even though he lost the first game, Jerry Faust is ready for tonight's game, Michigan State. Is he ever ready?
We know that McAllister is a better runner. We know Hoba is a better thrower. So we don't know who they're going to start, what they're going to play. We do feel that if Hoba's in there, we'll see Lorenzo White more. We'll see him run the ball more. We'll see him throwing more. And we'll see some option and sprint out with Hoba. He's 6'6", he can see over the line. On the other hand, we feel that if McAllister's in there with his speed, we'll see the option more. We'll still see Lorenzo White running. We'll still see throwing the ball. But we'll see him throwing sprint outs.
When you lose a quarterback like we did, and I remember back in Pittsburgh when we lost Terry Bradshaw for 6 games, and we have Mike Kruschet, a second-round draft choice from Boston College, and we won all 6 games he started because everybody pulled together. When you lose someone that's an important player on your football team, someone that has an important position like quarterback, it takes a team effort. Everybody has to give a little bit more.
The team is relaxing me. They feel real confident in me. And while the team feel confident in me, I got confidence in them, and we're going to go out and win. I feel it. No problem.
What do you like? I'll take Notre Dame. I mean, they've had a chance to get to Mass already tonight.
What was the score of that great game 19 years ago? 10-10? Tie one for the Gipper. I'll pick a tie. There you go. Perfect politician, right? We are lobbyists anyway these days.
That's right.
We have more scores and highlights coming up on our college football report. And, of course, we are awaiting the kickoff. Michigan State at Notre Dame. All that coming right up.
Walter Camp All-American in Irish history. Newt Rockne, who won 6 national championships. Frank Leahy's teams won 85% of their games. Air Persigan's teams won 84% of his. And Dan Devine took Notre Dame to 3 major bowls and a national championship. Today's coach is Jerry Faust. His teams have won just over 50%. It's been frustrating for Faust, whose lifelong dream was to coach Notre Dame. And it's been disappointing for Notre Dame fans who are accustomed to national championships and major bowl bids. Last Saturday, the Irish offense never scored a touchdown as underdog Michigan turned back Notre Dame. Turn an upset win at Ann Arbor before more than 100,000. More frustration for Faust. More disappointment for Notre Dame and Notre Dame fans. And tonight's game will not be easy for Faust and the Irish either. For next up, Notre Dame plays Michigan State. And welcome to Notre Dame Stadium. Notre Dame, Indiana. Michigan State upset win over Arizona State a week ago against the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, upset by Michigan at Ann Arbor. And good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Simpson, along, of course, with Paul McGuire. Paul, everybody here and around the nation who's a football fan knows of Jerry Faust and his efforts to turn around the Notre Dame program. But is there somebody out there outside of the family and friends of George Perlis and the Big Ten that know that Michigan State is trying to turn around its program?
You know, and George Perlis loves the Michigan State program. So he said to us that even if we lose the football game, we have a successful program. And that's really good to hear. He loves this program so much, Jim, that he put both of his sons through it. He just said that we want to establish football players on the football field and gentlemen off the football field, and I think he's done that.
And remembering what, of course, has happened out in the Southwest Conference, the bad news from there and taking money from alumni, George Perlis says that will not and does not happen in our program, and it is refreshing. So it is Notre Dame and Michigan State coming up, but a fine show coming up for you before the kickoff. So now let's go to our host, George Grand.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll be heading back to Jim and Paul in just a couple of minutes for more of the pregame color from Notre Dame, Indiana. What a great place to be on a Saturday night as Spartan fans and Fighting Irish fans around the country are gathering for what should be a great couple of hours of football. Also, during the course of the next couple of hours, there'll be some other major games unfolding, and we'll be keeping tabs on them for you. A couple of big ones on the West Coast. The number 6 team in ESPN's latest top 20 poll, the USC Trojans, their home opener taking on Baylor. These two teams haven't met since 1960. We'll be keeping tabs on that, as well as the UCLA game that's going on at Pasadena against San Diego State. The number 11 team in our ESPN poll, LSU, Dalton Hilliard and company, will be hosting Colorado State. That will be an indoctrination to play football in Bayou country. BYU, the Cougars, continue their road trip. They will be at Temple this evening. That's a 9 o'clock Eastern time start. We'll give you the latest on Robbie Bosco and how they are progressing. And this game has been a sellout since July. West Virginia and Maryland. That one to start in just a few minutes. We'll, of course, be keeping tabs on that one for you. They're ranked 18 and 17, respectively, in ESPN's latest top 20 poll. Earlier today, TCU, you remember, Jim just alluded to the fact that there was some difficulty there. Jim Wacker, the head football coach, suspended 4 defensive starters, as well as the great running back Kenneth Davis. Well, they still managed for a 24-22 win over Kansas State. And next week on ESPN at 7:30 Eastern time, SMU and TCU. SMU is idle this week. SMU 1-0 against 2-0 TCU, live on ESPN. That's 7:30 Eastern time on your source for sports. We got plenty to talk about in this pregame as we take a look at 2 great football teams and 2 great traditions when we return. The 10 people you talked to on the East Lansing campus of Michigan State this week realize if East Lansing and Michigan State is going to beat Notre Dame, you got to stop Alan Pinkett. And when you look at Michigan State defense, if it looks a little familiar tonight, it should, because the head man, George Perlis, has brought the basic core philosophy of defense from the Steelers to East Lansing. Even brought a Steeler to help institute it, Steve Furness. Perlis believes his defense will have to be the key against the Irish tonight if they're going to come out on top.
We're concerned about playing Notre Dame because they are a good team. It's not the most ideal situation to play them at South Bend, although we beat them down there 2 years ago. Their fans will be enthusiastic. Their players will be out to make up for last week's loss. We know it's going to be tough. We know that the fans will have a big impact on the noise and be to their advantage.
You are a 4th free rusher. You never have contained. All right? Now we got a high sign who's going, and you got to communicate with it. Even if the wrong guy goes and everybody's wrong, we're still right.
Well, first of all, I think if Pinkett rushes for more than 100 yards, we're going to have our problems, because I think they've evolved to be a Pinkett-oriented attack. They have utilized some formations and featured him in those formations, running and passing both, and we're going to have to stop him first of all.
On 1. Brown 57. Set, put 1. Hands up, drive them off. Now work on moving your feet. Down the line, hands up.
We have to stop 20, Pinkett. If we stop him, we'll win the football game. I don't think with their passing attack, they have some receivers hurt, and I think that they'll come out and try to run the ball. All the points being last week after the game and their typical philosophy, they're going to come out and try to grind it out. I think they have no choice.
You know, there's a lot of talk in South Bend on, you know, what a great back Pinkett is, and you know my feelings about that. I think he'll probably be the best back we'll play against. You know, Byers is hurt, and we played against him last year, but this guy has ability. Byers is kind of a shuffler that everybody knows. He goes about half speed, and then he turns on the burst. This guy turns on the burst to start.
Physically, on paper, there should be no match up front. They should be able to just blow us off the ball. But I think with the heart of our guys and the way we've played good defense, we take the challenge to stop a good running back. Every guy in my room thinks that they can stop good running backs. We played very well against Byers last year, and we take great pride in putting the helmet on the ball carrier.
And there's always an interesting sidelight to something like this. Everybody talks about Alan Pinkett, but remember, Michigan State has Lorenzo White, a young man who rushed for a school record 174 yards last week. Don't you think he'd like to grab some of the headlines this evening as well? Jim and Paul, you know, when you talk about George Perlis, we've all worked with him when he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and very clearly he's trying to emulate the Steeler philosophy at East Lansing.
You're right, George, but when you talk to George Perlis, he's not talking about what he's trying to do. He knows what he's trying to do, but he talks about Chuck Noll, who taught him.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? And everybody wonders, you know, why you bring a pro defense to college football. He's the man to prove that it can work. Everybody's using 5-2s and all these over and unders. talking to Coach Perlis, he said, I would love to play every game with a 4-man front, 3 linebackers, 3 safety men, in zone, and 1 free man.
And hit them hard.
That's right.
More of our pregame show when we come back in just a moment.
There is no greater football tradition in this great land of ours than at Notre Dame, from the 4 horsemen of legendary fame on the field to George Gipp off the field. But very ironically, it is that very tradition that has made it so difficult for Jerry Faust under the shadow of the Golden Dome. With names like Rockne, Leahy, and Parsegian before him, all of them, of course, great coaches, Faust is well aware that coaching at Notre Dame is unlike any other coaching experience.
I think we've got a great tradition here at Notre Dame. You know, it's a neat tradition, and it's something really neat to be part of. And I really enjoy being part of that. At times, you know, you put self-inflicted pressure on because you want to be the best. You want your team to be the best. You want it to be the way it was in the past, the way you want it now. And so you put added pressure on. But I think that's prevalent for any coach at any college that's had success in the past.
The team has been more intense this week in practice. They've been getting after people a little more. And I think the reason why is because we realize when Michigan State comes down here, they're coming down here for a war. They're going to want to fight, and we're just going to have to fight them back.
I think Michigan State, Mo, is a very, very aggressive football team. I think they're a better football team than they were last year. I think that they have great quickness. I was really impressed with them on film when I thought Arizona State really had outstanding speed. They were able to contain both sides of the ball, Arizona State's speed. They lost Arima, their quarterback, which really presents a problem to us, believe it or not. More of a problem than if he was in there. Arima's an excellent quarterback, but we have played against Arima for 2 years. We know his capabilities. We know what he does. It's easier to defense something like that.
Michigan State puts everybody up on the line of scrimmage. They play a 6-1 defense, and everything centers around having 6 guys on the line and 1 linebacker. And they play you toe-to-toe, and they try to out-muscle you. And it presents a problem because everybody's up on the line of scrimmage. But the advantage to that is if we can break the line of scrimmage, we should be gone.
The great tradition of the Fighting Irish at Notre Dame, and now Notre Dame, Indiana. We're just about ready for the opening kickoff of this major matchup between Notre Dame and Michigan State. We'll be back at halftime with a look at Michigan State coach George Perlis. Back to you, gentlemen.
All right, George, and for the 60th consecutive time, it is a sellout at Notre Dame, Indiana. Paul, Jerry Faust alluded to it. I'd like to repeat what he said. Michigan State is quick. Last week, they outquicked a very quick team in Arizona State. Is Michigan State's quickness, as small as they are, enough for Notre Dame's hugeness, as big as they are?
Yes. All right, let's get on with it. They give away about 5 inches and some 32 pounds to Notre Dame. But when you take a look at this defense, Jim, you're going to see the stunts. By the tackle stunning, the tackle in the end stunning, they have a lot of movement, a lot of blitzing, safety blitzing, and to put it briefly, they will knock your socks off.
All right, George Grant also referred to this. The 2 running backs, outstanding. Alan Pinkett already with a couple of 1,000 yards seasons to his credit. Lorenzo White, a star, 42-yard touchdown. Second time he carried the ball last week against Arizona State.
Lorenzo White, first of all, Jim, last week carried the ball 39 times. He is a durable back. Both of them are, Alan Pinkett and Lorenzo White. I would imagine that each one of these players will carry the ball at least 30% of the time, or 30 times a game. But I think the key to this football game is whichever team can throw the ball effectively short, not long, but short. If they can control the passing game in this game, they will win it.
And we must remind you, will it be Bobby McAllister, who is a sprint-out type, a very dangerous man on a broken play type, or will it be drop-back passer Tom Hober to replace Urema, who went down with that thumb damage?
McAllister.
Bobby McAllister is expected to start. The funny thing is Notre Dame, which is playing its first home opener of this year, their home opener of this year, is a lopsided favorite. And yet a week ago they lost to Michigan, and a week ago Michigan State looked awfully good in their upset of Arizona State.
I think people are misjudging Michigan State. And again, we've talked about it so many times, Jim. They're looking at the difference in size. But you must look at quickness. I know that they're saying things to me about it, but Michigan State has quick defensive linemen. Notre Dame, their linemen are big, but they're not that fast.
The Spartans of Michigan State under George Perlis in his third year about to take the field. Remember, they did knock off Arizona State. There they are, small, quick, and they hit very, very hard. 2 years ago, they defeated Notre Dame here, and when they did that, Urema was the quarterback and threw 3 touchdown passes. Now, Urema has an ill mother who is going to show up tonight and watch him play, but Urema cannot play. He is upset, and Michigan State hopes it is not upset with the loss of Urema as far as the outcome of the game is concerned. The Spartans, well, they've only been to 5 major bowls in their lifetime, and the last major bowl was nearly 20 years ago. They did go to the Peach, or I should say the Cherry Bowl, remember, in December against Army.
Well, Jim, when you watch this team, when we talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, George Perlis being there, you're going to see the identical thing. You're going to see, if you're looking at the game, you're tuning, you didn't know who was playing, you think the Pittsburgh Steelers offense and defense were on the field.
Now here come the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, beaten up at Ann Arbor, but they are home in Notre Dame Stadium. And they are here looking for their first win of 1985. Notre Dame and Michigan State next here on ESPN. Skies are cloudy, temperature 66 degrees, the wind 5 to 10 miles only, and a chance of rain. And we had a slight drizzle today, only 20%. We understand that when the Spartan team left today, or some of their officials left today, it was raining up in East Lansing. George Perlis down here, he won the first game. He coached against Notre Dame, lost last year after leading 17-0 in the first quarter. And Jerry Faust on the other side, 25-21-1, and he lost up at Ann Arbor. Now, Notre Dame has won the toss, but has elected to get the ball in the second half, or at least have the option in the second half, so they will kick off. And Michigan State will receive. Our referee tonight is John Nealon out of the Big Ten. Bob Pickens of the Big Ten is the umpire. Head linesman Bob Coburn of the Big Ten. They're all Big Ten officials. Line judge Dan Langlow. And Tom Bryan, the side judge. The field judge is Denny Front, and the back judge is Tom Klein. And now teeing it up to kick off for Notre Dame is John Carney out of Centerville, Ohio. He who has hit 10 straight field goals in regular season play. And the deep man back there is Craig Johnson, a freshman, who is the backup to Lorenzo White at tailback. They use a single man back there. Notre Dame looking for a much better year in '85. They didn't get off to that good a start, and Michigan State got up to an unexpected start when they knocked off Arizona State. Now Carney to kick off, and our game tonight is underway. And that's Johnson in the end zone. Will he bring it out? Yep. To the 10, to the 15, and to about the 17-yard line. And so now the quarterback coming out will be number 8, Bobby McAllister. Freshman, a red shirt. He'll be taking his first snap ever at a college game tonight. Lorenzo White, 34, is running back. Bobby Morse, son of a Notre Dame great Jim Morse, will be the fullback, number 21. Andre Rison, a great freshman, split end, number 1. And Mark Ingram, number 11, the other wide receiver. Butch Roll, 89, the tight end. We will give you the other men. Now we see there are 2 tight ends in there with Vino Belk in motion. And here comes Lorenzo White looking for some opening and does not get it. It's near the 19-yard line, and that is about all. Mandarek and Bogdanovic at the tackles, Rogers and Wojciechowski at the guards, and Watchman at center. Now for Notre Dame's defense. Greg Dingens, 92. Eric Dorsey, 71. Wally Klein, 96. The front 3. Mike Larkin, 42. Mike Kovalevsky, 49. Tony Fujanik, co-captain, 58. Robert Banks, 56. The linebackers. Troy Wilson at one corner, number 12. Mike Haywood making the start tonight, number 1 at the other. And Pat Ballard's 40 and Steve Lawrence, 23, the safeties. Second down and about 10 to go. Again, 2 tight ends. And this is McAllister sprinting out, gets the ball up here, and there's a fine play by Ingram. Came back for the ball and has the first down, steps out of bounds at the 46. Troy Wilson, the man there, but Mark Ingram stepped back and made a remarkable play on that ball.
Oh, it was absolutely beautiful what Mark Ingram did. He came back to the football. Bobby McAllister saw him break into the outside. He knew he was covered by Troy Wilson, but the thing that he did that makes him a smart receiver is he came back to the football, fought for the ball, and he got the ball over the 45-yard line.
And don't you think Bobby McAllister feels pretty good? First time he's taken a snap, he gave it to Lorenzo White. Second time he takes a snap, he completes his first ever collegiate pass for a big gain. Now Bobby Morse comes in the backfield as the fullback. Number 21. And this is Lorenzo White trying to go up the middle and get some yardage near the 50-yard line. Give him a gain of about 3. Call it 2nd down and 7. Lorenzo White with Eric Dorsey, the nose tackle or guard. Number 71 making the stop.
Jim, when the first play from scrimmage we saw with Lorenzo White carrying the ball as a single back in the backfield, they go with double tight ends, Roll and Belt. And what they do is they'll put a tight end in motion onto that side, and it ends up triple formation. And whichever way the tight end blocks that end, that's the way Lorenzo will run.
We'll watch it because the second tight end, Belk, has come in and Morse has gone out. That is Belk in motion, and here comes Lorenzo White, and he's got the first down. Gee, this fella's got speed. He's across the 35-yard line and tackled over there by Troy Wilson, the cornerback. Another first down, Michigan State. And already, Paul, the quickness of the Spartans is evident.
Wojciechowski, Rogers, and Watchman up in front make the block, but watch the move that Lorenzo White makes. When he gets through the line of scrimmage, Jim, he's going right now, and watch this move real quick to the right of the screen. Now he's at full speed after one step. Troy Wilson catches him from behind, but they're inside the 35-yard line.
1st and 10 at the 32. Morse back in as the fullback. And Morse with the football and gets inside the 30-yard line. Funny thing about Bobby Morse is father, when he, of course, played in the same backfield with Paul Horning, was captain of the team. Then Bobby's older brother Jim Jr. played here as a defensive back in the late 70s. And Bobby was going to come here as a walk-on. But at the last moment, in May of his high school senior year, Michigan State said, "We'll give you a scholarship." And he said, "Done," and came to Michigan State. Gary Faust on the far sideline. It is 2nd down and 6 to go from the 28. That's Rizon, the man in motion, that freshman receiver. And here comes McAllister coming out here, and he has got Ingram again, and Ingram's got a first down again inside the 15-yard line. This drive began at the 18. They're now down inside the 15 to the 14 of Notre Dame.
Jim, what they're ending up with is a split end Rizon coming in motion, so they flood the side. And when that happens, Ingram, all he does is get in a pocket, in the zone, an open area. And when that happens, McAllister finds him open right there. No chance for Kovalevsky, the linebacker. They get to him. They picked up another first down.
They still have 2 tight ends in there. Willie Boyer has come in as they give the ball to Lorenzo White. And Lorenzo White, that's a fine tackle by Mike Kovalevsky. Number 49, the junior inside linebacker out of Newcastle, Indiana. Picks up a couple of yards. It is 2nd down and 8 to go.
You mentioned something of the great confidence builder, Jim. Bobby McAllister, first time ever in a college game as a quarterback taking a snap, thrown 2 passes so far for 40 yards. That's phenomenal. And a confidence builder that is.
Rizon to the right, and Ingram has caught those 2 passes to the left, and Morse back in.
Notre Dame is missing a man on defense. He just got on the field.
Look at this. This is Lorenzo White, and he is ridden down across the way. You can see Mike Larkin, 42, the outside linebacker, making the stop.
Larkin was the man who was not on the field, Jim. He just got on the field late and ran all the way across the field and made the tackle on Lorenzo White. You see Larkin on the bottom. You look at the middle of your screen. He was just coming on the field, and he's in a right pursuit angle, gets off the block, and makes the tackle.
He is an outside linebacker. You saw him start out in the middle. 3rd down and 4 to go. The ball inside the 10-yard line. No score early first quarter. Here comes Bobby McAllister. He can run well. Gets inside the 5, and it has a first down. 1st and goal to go. And the freshman out of Pompano Beach, Florida, has not made a mistake on this opening series.
And what George Perlis told us about McAllister is this. Now we've got Belk, the tight end, is down.
Well, we'll hear what George Perlis told you in just a moment. Let's read the clock. 10:43 to go. No score, but State is threatening. Game brought to you by new Jeep Comanche. There's a new truck on the road. It's called Comanche. It's worth a look. by IBM and the growing family of IBM personal computers. And by Bud Light, the light beer with the first name and taste. Everything else is just alike. First and goal to go. Lorenzo White, look out. He'll get there. Touchdown, Michigan State. That, folks, is an 82-yard drive with White taking it in from 4 yards out.
That play was designed to go off tackle. Lorenzo White saw everything jammed in the middle. He went to the outside. The only man that had a shot at him was Troy Wilson. Watch the move Lorenzo White makes right here. It's to the left now. He sees everything jammed inside. And the only man that has a chance at him was Troy Wilson and only got fingers on him.
And now Chris Caudell is coming in, and Risco will hold for the extra point. Point is perfect, and Notre Dame did nothing at all to stop Michigan State. They moved nearly at ease with McAllister 2 for 2 down the field. They lead by 7. But Mark got named down Lorenzo White. You will see a lot of him before his collegiate career is over. Greg Montgomery, a transfer out of Penn State who handles the punting, also handles the kickoffs, and he will kick off. And deep for Notre Dame, a couple of youngsters, Tim Brown, an outstanding wide receiver and returner. He is on your left, and Hiawatha Francisco, who's called on to back up Alan Pinkett because Alonzo Jefferson, who's responsible for the second-half kickoff against Michigan last week and subsequently suffered severe knee damage, is out. Leading 7-0, Michigan State kicks off. And that's Brown tracking it down. He may let it go out of bounds, which he does. Remembering a year ago, Paul, up at East Lansing, whoops, there's a little altercation on the far sideline. Remembering a year ago, Paul, the fact that Notre Dame was down 17-0 at the end of a single quarter and came back. Michigan State in that game got off to an outstanding start also.
Jim, watch Bobby Morris. The reason why Lorenzo White ran outside is because of this. Here goes Bobby Morris, and he's got to take on the linebacker in the hole. Everything is jammed to the inside. Once that happens, now you'll see why Lorenzo White goes outside. The middle's jammed. He just makes that quick move to the left. Troy Wilson is there, but can't make the play.
Now they'll mark off 5 yards, and Montgomery will kick off the ball from the... Well, but before he does kick off, here's some scores. Top 20s. Iowa rolling now. Defeated Northern Illinois. You saw the other scores. And now from the 35, here's Greg Montgomery. And so Brown and Francisco come out past the 5-yard line. 7-0, Michigan State. 5 minutes have not yet gone by in the first quarter. High. This will be in play, and this will be Tim Brown taking the ball at the 8. Brown has blazing speed. If he can get out, he's clear, and he gets clear and is caught. Nope, he's not caught. And there's Montgomery knocking him down. First down, Notre Dame across the 40-yard line. And now Steve Berline, number 7, comes out with Alan Pinkett 20, Frank Stamps 30 in his backfield, Reggie Ward 83, Tim Brown 81 as wide receivers, Tom Rader 90 as tight end, Underwood and Perino his tackles, Scannell and Heffern his guards, and Plants at center. Mark the ball at the 39-yard line. And now let's see what Berline and Notre Dame can do against this smaller but quicker defensive Michigan State. This will be a test for Notre Dame right here. Brown the man in motion, and Pinkett the man with the football, and he's got a big hole, and he picks up about 8 yards across the 45 to the 47. Phil Parker, the free safety, had to make the tackle. Michigan State this year against Arizona State allowed many more yards than they got themselves, but they got 12 points, and Arizona State only got 3. Kelly Quinn, Mark Nichols, Joe Curran, and Warren Lester, the front 4 for Michigan State. Anthony Bell, he's a good one. Shane Bulla, Kurt Larson, the linebackers. Todd Crum, Keith Fisher, the corners. Paul Bobbitt and Phil Parker are the safeties. Second down and short, Brown in motion. Berline hands off to Pinkett, and Pinkett's got the first down out near midfield. First down, Notre Dame, with Mark Nichols hanging on, along with Joe Curran. Curran is a strong man of a lot. When I say strong, Paul, a lot of strong people play this game, but he can bench press 510 pounds. That's a lot.
I couldn't pull that in a trailer.
Stams checking with Pinkett on first down. Notre Dame's going to Pinkett every time, and why not go again? They do again and got about 5.5 yards. Second down and 5. And Joe Curran, again, in on a tackle. His number is 94. Out of Elmhurst, Illinois. He weighs 261.
Here comes Pinkett, but they're going to Scannell and Underwood side, plants to center. And just take a look. They're getting to the Michigan State defense, and all they're doing, Jim, they're turning him out. They're not trying to block him head on. They're kind of making him turn because you're going to see an awful lot of stunts with this defensive line.
Remember, Kelly Quinn weighs 232 only, and Mark Nichols weighs 228. His backup, Jim Ranello, weighs 210. And here's Burline. Double coverage on his man for Brown, and Brown can't quite get to it at the goal line. And it is third down and 5 from the 45 of Michigan State.
It ends up with Phil Parker down there helping Keith Fisher, 43, Phil Parker, 32, on Tim Brown. And watch what happens. When he makes the move to the outside, he just holds Fisher for just a second, and then here comes Brown running by Fisher. He is open for the touchdown. The ball is just over his head, about 4 or 5 yards.
And Cusack wide to the left, and Reggie Ward in wide to the right on 3rd and 5. 7-0 Michigan State. There's Burline being pursued and knocked down. What a play that is by Kelly Quinn. There's where your quickness comes in. 230 pounds. They say in the professionals he might go as a linebacker. Playing as a down lineman here.
Their best pass rusher is Kelly Quinn, and he just shoots the gap, and he's quick enough to get around his man. Watch when 93 comes in. He shoots the gap, comes around the block at the line of scrimmage by Scannell. It just makes the play at his feet.
Dan Sorensen, low snap from center, but gets away a good punt. This may make it into the end zone, and does. And so we'll come out to the 20-yard line. Notre Dame got as far as Michigan State territory, but that was all. Michigan State still leads by 7 first quarter. Back at Notre Dame, Indiana, Iowa, as we said, buried Northern Illinois today. Florida State lost their quarterback, McManus, but beat Memphis State 19-10. Ohio State rolled over Colorado 36-13. Penn State had a battle with East Carolina. Michigan buried South Carolina. That could be a surprise. Alabama rolled over at Cincinnati 45-10. First down. Bobby McAllister hasn't missed yet. Hands off this time to Lorenzo White, who's made the touchdown, and White is ridden down on a fine play by Robert Banks, the outside linebacker, number 56. Banks, a junior out of Hampton, Virginia.
Jim, I'm not, at this point, really not questioning the play calling. But when Notre Dame had the ball with Alan Pinkett, they got 2 first downs. They were running the ball right at Michigan State, doing what they wanted to do, picking up first downs. They get into a 2nd down and 5 situation and throw a pass, a play-action pass, with only one receiver going out into the pattern. Then it puts them in 3rd and 5 situation. They had to throw again, and they got sacked.
Here's Lorenzo White. Man, he ran 39 times last week, Paul, and he may run 39 times again today. Funny thing, Jerry Faust said in our pregame show, if we see Hoba, we will see more of White. I don't see how much more you can see of White and McAllister as the quarterback. Ball is at the 24-yard line, and it is 3rd down and 6 to go. Lorenzo White has the game's only touchdown on a 4-yard run to the right around the corner of Notre Dame. Mike Sargent checks in as a tight end. They use a lot of tight ends. And remember, Belk went out hurt.
I'd like to get that ball here.
3rd down. Look out. McAllister on his first pressure and is down with Eric Dorsey, the nose man, throwing him down. And now Michigan State will have to kick away into, well, they're about with the win. They're okay. They're okay.
Dorsey is playing over the center watchman, and look at the move he makes to the inside. He just gets by number 62, Mitch Watchman, and no chance for McAllister to even set up. Good play by the defense.
Shermer might come in there. Here's Greg Montgomery to kick the ball away. He averaged better than 43 yards last week. Well, a rush is on, but he gets the ball away. And this is taken by Number 12, Troy Wilson, and he is in the middle of a lot of folks, but they have the ball at the 46-yard line. First and 10, 5:53 to go. First quarter, 7-0 Michigan State. And now Steve Berline and Notre Dame will try to get something going again. There's our score. Tony Eason, who started against Michigan last week as a wide receiver, was put down behind Reggie Ward and Alvin Miller. And all of a sudden, Tony Eason is back in there tonight early on, and the sophomore is flanked, or I should say split wide to the left. First down for Notre Dame at their own 46. And that is Alan Pinkett, this time a couple of yards only. As you can see, getting up, it's Anthony Bell, a very highly regarded senior linebacker out of Fort Lauderdale.
Here's Shane Bulla. He's the middle linebacker, a true middle linebacker. Now watch, he goes up and takes on the fullback, Stams, and he stands him up. The rest of the people do the job. His job is to stand up that first man in and try to fight off to the ball. I think he did a good job.
Second down, Shane Bulla, the son of Hank Bulla. Here's Berline back to throw it. He's got a man wide open over here and knocked out of bounds. But that's a good play, and that's the first down. And that is number 83, Reggie Ward, who made the catch. And Notre Dame is going, except there's a flag back at the 46-yard line, and the Irish are walking backwards.
That's holding. The clipping.
That's our referee, John Nealon. And they had a first down inside the 35-yard line, almost at the 30, but instead back them up inside their own 40-yard line. Almost down to the 30 at the 31. 7-0, 5:19 to go. Michigan State took the opening kickoff and drove 82 yards.
We have a clip on Notre Dame.
Today, New York and St. Louis came from behind. When we left the hotel, Montreal was beating up on St. Louis, so that race remains the same. Cincinnati loses out to Los Angeles today. They were closing in, but the Dodgers won and the Reds lost. Second down on the bundle, 27 to go, and there goes Pinkett. Pinkett, look at this cut. He's going to make the first down minimum. Across the 40, and down he goes. First down inside the 35-yard line. Bill Parker puts him down. About a 35-yard run for Alan Pinkett.
All right, take a look at Pinkett. And what's the move back to the inside? And he is going at full speed. He cuts back against the defense. They're stunning. Gets a block downfield. Phil Parker's going to save a touchdown right here. But Alan Pinkett just shows you his quickness and his move to the inside. And Tim Scannell is hurt. He's going off the field.
And Raiders coming to the sideline. They're giving Pinkett a blow. Now remember, the man who normally goes in for him is Alonzo Jefferson. We told you he tore up his knee handling the second half kickoff against Michigan. He fumbled the ball subsequently, and Michigan recovered and scored from 14 yards out. So Hiawatha Francisco, who was a free safety, who has played tailback before, is in there as tailback now. He's number 33, stands the fullback in front of him. First down inside the 35. That's Brown in motion, and Francisco's going to carry the ball, and that's not a very good way to be welcome to the offense. And that is Shane Bulla again making the stop. It is second down and 10. Francisco's got a younger brother who is on the squad. Last time he carried, as we said, he was a freshman. Now he's a junior, and Pinkett has had his rest, and he goes back in, and Francisco comes out. Second down and 10.
Double tight ends.
Must have been watching George Perlis at Michigan State. Here's Berline. He's going to go deep again, and across the middle, he has his man, Tom Rader, who fumbles the ball, and let's see what they call it. Whether it is a reception and a recovery, nope, they're putting it back the other way. Check that, that's Tim Brown. That was Rader jumping on the ball.
Well, George Perlis told us that they're going to back off a little bit, give him some room, let him catch the ball, and then punish him. And the man that's going to be downfield is Shane Bulla. Look at the linebacker, number 41, is there. Now, Brown it looked like he was down or stopped. And they said he was down. They marked the ball. There's a good call by the official.
7-0 Michigan State, but first down Notre Dame at the 19-yard line of Michigan State. Uh-oh, left side of the line goes. And nobody else is going. led by Joel Williams, a reserve tight end on that left side. The tackle went right with him.
Durger.
Dead ball, false start, Notre Dame, still first down.
Oh, it is 1st and 15. Remember the long pass completion short time ago? Holding called him back, but then Pinkett took care of that with a 35-yard run when it was 2nd down and 27. And now it is 1st and 15 from the 24.
Jim, the way the corners are playing for Michigan State, Crum and Fisher, they're giving 10 yards to both wide receivers.
Well, I like, as they said, the throw underneath. Here's Pinkett. Makes a good move to the outside, a good move to the inside, and picks up about 8 yards. Alan Pinkett is having an outstanding night. Fisher in on the tackle, number 43.
Pinkett and Lorenzo White are both running well, but watch this offensive line now. They're going to block out. And here comes Pinkett. He's going behind Stams, and he sees the block by the tight end there, which is also holding on Shane Bulla, I think. Or no, excuse me, that's Anthony Bell, number 51. But Pinkett breaks it to the outside and picked up 7 yards on the play.
2nd down and 8 to go. Less than 3 minutes to go in the quarter. And Tony Eason is back in and is wide to the right. Pinkett has carried 6 times for better than a 10-yard average. Here's Berline, and he is going to throw. And he's looking over here, and there's Tony Eason, touchdown. 7-6 at the moment. 18-yard touchdown pass, Berline to Tony Eason.
Jim Eason made a great move. He makes a move into the post, and then he goes back out. But the big problem here, look at the offense block. And Pinkett gets an excellent block. He has time, Berline, to throw the football, and Eason breaks it back to the outside. That's Keith Fisher, the cornerback that was supposed to be on him, couldn't stay with him.
Don Carney will try to tie the game up with Berline, the holder. And the ball game is tied. 2:45 left, first quarter. Michigan State took the opening drive, won 82 yards, and now, after having to punt the ball away, Notre Dame gets the ball back and drives for its own touchdown. The final 18 from Berline to Eason.
You don't give Berline this much time, and it was a nice block by Alan Pinkett. It gave Berline the time to find Eason, and Eason beats Fisher into the corner.
Oh, he was wide open. And these youngsters, Crum and Fisher, made their first starts last week, and they look like they're young tonight.
And Berline, a little fake to Pinkett, but Pinkett sat up and made the block at the line of scrimmage. When he did that, it gave Berline enough time to find Eason in the corner.
Carney will kick off, and Craig Johnson will go deep. And there's Tony Eason, as we said, a starter last week. But they put Reggie Ward and Alvin Miller ahead of him on a depth chart tonight, and all of a sudden Eason is in there, and on his second series, catches the touchdown pass to tie the game. Beautiful night in Notre Dame, Indiana. Temperatures, we came on the air, 66 degrees, only 20% chance of rain, and we've got a lot of football left ahead of us. 82-yard drive by Michigan State, 54-yard drive by Notre Dame.
Made a key play. 2nd down and 25. They give it to Pinkett. He picks it up on a running play.
Hardy to kick off. And that is Johnson well in the end zone. And is he going to bring it out? No, he better not. Wise there. Johnson does not bring it out. Out to the 20-yard it'll come. 1st down and 10 to go from there. New York today finally broke its 8-game losing streak, beating Baltimore 5-2. But Toronto kept right in there by knocking off Milwaukee in 14 innings. Later tonight, Minnesota, Kansas City, Cleveland, California. By the way, congratulations to former ESPN colorman, now the manager of Kansas City, Dick Hauser, who today had his contract extended through 1988. Texas leading Missouri 7-0 as Charlie Hunter caught a touchdown pass. They give the Longhorns the lead. 1st down, Michigan State. And here's Bobby McAllister, the freshman starting. Look, he'll go the other way. Busted place. He's terrific. Remember that. And he's got speed, and he's got a 1st down. Whoops. Troy Wilson met him just as he got near the 30, and he may not have the 1st down. All depends on when they mark it. They look, Paul, as though they're going to put it at the 29.
Oh, Jim, you talk about hitting these two teams now. Take a look at it. Here comes, it looks like a running play coming to this side. All right. People are getting nailed and blocked. No problem there. Morse is blocking number 21. But when McAllister, he kind of lumbering out there and say, well, I've got a lot of room, until Troy Wilson said, no, you don't, and put a hit on him.
2nd down, and no, not even a yard. So they give the ball to Morse. son of the former Notre Dame captain, and Bobby gets the first down across the 30-yard line. Speaking of Bobby Morris, one of the all-time great plays, they tell me, in all of Michigan State football history was 2 years ago when Bobby Morris took a kick in the Michigan game, their hated rival, intrastate rival, and ran 87 yards for a punt return touchdown. First down, Michigan State at the 32. Talking to people about Paul Hornung and the fact that he was playing here 30 years ago, I was disputed. They said, 30 years ago, Paul Hornung? Yeah, that's right. 30 years ago, he was here. And now, Lorenzo White. What quickness, Paul. What quickness. Dorsey puts him down. But when he gets to the line of scrimmage, it's those afterburners that they talk about so much. He just flies.
And he likes to run straight ahead, too, Jim. He'll take on the tacklers. Look at, he's got 38 yards and 9 carries, 1 touchdown.
George Perlis will bring in plays with his wide receivers, his tight ends, or his fullbacks. And he is not signaling in his plays tonight because McAllister's never started before. He does not want to put that responsibility on this redshirt freshman to have to think about what plays to call. So, without giving Lorenzo White. And Lorenzo White knocked down just shy of the first down on a fine open field tackle by Brandy Wells. Wells, a sophomore out of Montclair, New Jersey.
Jim, when you sit here watching these two backs, Alan Pinkett and Lorenzo White, the moves that they have at the line of scrimmage, it's incredible. The quick feet to make that move to get back outside. It looked like Lorenzo White would have been tackled at the line of scrimmage, but he breaks it off and picks up. They're only 1 yard short of the first down, and I would imagine they're going to give it to Lorenzo.
We are tied at 7 with less than a half a minute to go in the first quarter. What an analyst you are. As Lorenzo White dives over and gets the first down with 19 seconds left in the quarter. And he may get at least 39 carries tonight. A flag is down, and they had a legal motion. Looked like the left side of the line had started early. Jerry Faust in the 5th year of his contract. What an outstanding career at Moeller College. A lot of Moeller graduates
The
are here.
illegal motion on Michigan State. Still third down.
Third down and 6 to go.
I'll tell you, the man I'm waiting to see get his hands on the ball, and everybody's talking about him. Even Jerry Faust said that he is so dangerous, is rising #1. And I think McAllister would like to get the ball to him short.
He is a wide receiver with blazing speed. That's it. They're going to let it run out. They let the quarter run out. Well, it's been an outstanding quarter. Each has had a rather long march. Michigan State's longer than Notre Dame's, but the results are the same because we're all tied. Lorenzo White scored, and Tony Eason caught a touchdown pass. 7-all at the end of the quarter. Simpson with Paul McGuire with Notre Dame, Indiana. It is 7 apiece as we begin the second quarter. Third down and 6, Michigan State from their own 36-yard line. And for the first time, they show us 3 wide receivers. Actually, Morse is flanked wide to the right. And it's fullback McAllister under pressure, throwing out, and he just may have the first down to Morse coming out of the backfield. And he does at the 44-yard line. Good pass receiver. Had 5 catches a week ago against Arizona State.
Problem is that Notre Dame didn't line up in the right defense because it ended up with Robert Banks trying to cover Bobby Morris coming out of the backfield, and he never could get to him. McAllister on a roll, saw Morris just slip to the outside. Banks never getting there, picked up the first down.
From the 44, Woody Boyer replaces Risen. As the wide receivers in this particular case, both freshmen, bring in the plays. And now there's Lorenzo White, and not much there. Maybe a yard or 2. And now Brandy Wells finds himself flat on his back. And he came flying out of that pack as though someone gave him a big shove. McAllister throwing the ball tonight is 3 for 3. Watch this, Paul.
Here's the defensive line. Wojciechowski coming across, and he didn't hit anyone. He just missed everybody. But I don't know where Wells came from downfield. All of a sudden, he flew back about 6 yards.
Second down and 8 to go.
Nickel backfield, 5 defensive backs.
That man is in. Risen is wide to the right. And Ingram, who's caught 2 balls wide to the left. And McAllister hands the ball off. Nope, he still got it. Fooled me, but doesn't fool Ingram, who almost made a fine catch at the 42-yard line. Diving try. No catch thus far for Mark Ingram tonight has been easy. That's the first one he's missed.
This, you talk about extension of the body, and the ball hits him in the hands. McAllister is running for his life. He's going to be running, Jim, to his left, and he is a right-handed passer, but watch where he puts the ball. He gets himself almost squared upfield, and Ingram has the ball in his hands and drops the ball. Spence was there with him, couldn't have made the play.
Third down from the 45-yard line. Long way to go, 8 yards. Ingram goes wide to the right.
3rd and 8 for Michigan State.
And Risen is wide to the left. And Boyer is in as a third wide receiver. And McAllister this time on a straight drop. Puts it out there, and wow, almost picked off by Mike Haywood, the senior out of Houston. Didn't play against Michigan last week because of the hip problem. And now it's 4th down.
Haywood was there. He was throwing the ball to Boyer down across. He came from the slot position, but he threw the ball behind him.
Greg Montgomery comes in to kick for Michigan State.
Greg Montgomery to kick the ball away, and there goes Troy Wilson deep.
Wilson deep for Notre Dame.
Here they come. Montgomery, oh, nice kick. Nice kick. Wilson signals for a fair catch, but he knows it's going to go in the end zone. He hopes, and it doesn't look like it's going to. They're going to down it on about the 1-yard line. They're going to down it at the 1. 1st and 10 from the 1 for Notre Dame. We're tied at 7-all. Second quarter. Tonight's game from Notre Dame brought to you by the U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start. And by MasterCard. MasterCard International. So worldly, so welcome. And by Honda Motorcycles, inventors of the ATC three-wheeler. Honda, follow the leader. Well, after marking the ball at the 1, an official who marked it was overruled. They moved it out to the 20, saying they carried the ball into the end zone. Here's Berline from the 20, throwing to Stams, who drops the ball at the 15. Thrown right into his hands, no one near him, and Frank Stams dropped the ball.
Kelly Quinn wanted to knock his head off when Stams dropped the ball. Stams reached down to pick up the ball, and Kelly Quinn, number 93, the left end, just came right at him. Gave him a little shot.
You know, it's a funny thing, Paul. They say, and you've already communicated it, Perlis and his crew like to give up the short pass, and when they get the ball, try to make them cough it up by hitting as hard as they can. They may catch the ball, they may not fumble, but the next time they go out, they realize that someone's going to be there to really take them downtown. Here's Pinkett carrying again. This time he gets not much, and all of a sudden Buller leads the way, and it'll be 3rd down and 9 to go.
Now they have Jones in the ball game as a defensive end for Leicester. And the defense, Jim, they're just playing it so Pinkett can't get to the outside. They turn him back into the defense, and that's beautiful.
3rd down, Pinkett comes out. Stams the lone setback. 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. 3rd down and 9 to go. And there's his tight end across the way, and that is Joel Williams, and that is the 1st down. Notre Dame at the 40-yard line with Phil Parker hanging on. And for Williams, his 2nd catch of the year.
They're trying to cover the tight end with the linebacker Stradley, and it just doesn't happen. Williams is wide open. Take a look. You see Stradley, number 22. Jim never gets to the play. The play is made by Parker downfield, but that wasn't his man at that point.
7-all to go early in the second quarter. Notre Dame with the 1st down at their own 40. Berline now 3 for 5 for 51 yards, but remember, Stams dropped one of those. Here's Tim Brown coming in motion. And here's Berline with the ball, and look out. Being chased. Almost down. Can now run if he wants. Now throws, and throws past his man Pinkett at midfield. Pinkett was coming toward the sidelines. He threw behind him. That was Dave Wolf chasing Berline when he got the ball away.
Well, he is chased, and that is Wolf coming in, but just take it. Here comes Kelly Quinn. He's on the outside, and then they forced Berline out. He had Ryder, the tight end, wide open going down the middle, just didn't have a chance to see him, and he tries to dump the ball back to Stams. If he kept the football, Jim, he may have been able to pick up 4 or 5 yards and run out of bounds.
2nd down and 10. Brown to the left and Reggie Ward to the right. Pinkett, of course, is back in, as he was on the last play. Here's Berline looking and has his man over here. That's Reggie Ward. And Ward's got a first down at the 47-yard line. Keith Fisher hanging on to him.
Jim, I mentioned about how far off they're playing. Fisher and Crum both are playing so far off. Reggie Ward comes down. He can take, watch it, you won't see the Michigan State man in the picture. He just runs off Fisher. You don't see Fisher yet. You still don't, and now you see Fisher. They're giving him the 10 to 12-yard cushion. That pass play will be open all night long.
Tony Eason wide to the left, Brown to the right. First down, 47. Brown in motion. Both wide receivers now on the left side, but they send Pinkett right up the middle, and there's not much there. Down at the bottom is Shane Buller. And a back, well, is Buffalo at home this weekend?
They're at home.
Well, Hank Buller up there in the Buffalo area watching. Defensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. And now Pat Cusack comes back in.
8 of 2.
Using a, well, they've used Brown and Cusack and Ward and Eason. Haven't seen Alvin Miller yet tonight.
Well, they only dressed 117 guys for this game.
Listen, Paul is not kidding. They dressed 117. Second down and 8 from the 45. Tie ball game, second quarter. There's Berline looking in. Oh, look at this lead pass out there to Reggie Ward, who just crossed past the first down marker. First down at about the 36-yard line. Fine play, set up, knew where he was. Berline delivered it on the money.
They could pick up 8 or 9 yards, Jim, just going left and right. Go to Ward on one side, Brown on the other side, because, again, I must point out that the cornerbacks are playing off anywhere from 8 to 10 yards, and then when the ball is snapped, they're dropping off another 4 or 5.
But again, we must point out that George Pullis said he would play this way. Linebackers deep, backs deep, let them catch him short. Well, they may catch him. First down, 36. Quick handoff to Pinkett. Hey, there's a good play there. And that play's made by Joe Curran, the man we said can bench press 510 pounds. He looked very quick there, didn't he? He's one of the bigger men. He weighs 261, but he is 5 feet 11 inches tall.
He's stocky. He's the defensive line. Now watch the penetration of the defensive line. There goes Kelly Quinn down to the inside. They're double teaming him. And then you see Joe Curran. He's making the play, makes a stop in the backfield, and that is actually for no gain.
Second down and 10 to go. Now we're going to give to Pinkett. And Pinkett is dragged down in the backfield. That's a fine play there. That's Kelly Quinn and Joe Curran. Quinn grabbed him and Curran put him down.
Yeah, the quickness of this, we're talking about quickness of this defensive line. Now watch Kelly Quinn. Now watch how fast he's in the backfield. He's already by the defense of the offensive man. He makes the spin, slows down Pinkett, and then Curran makes the tackle.
So it is third down and 10. Now you wonder with those cornerbacks playing off ball. Eason goes out to the left, and Crum is playing well off him. Brown comes to the right, and Fisher's playing well off him. On third down 10, they're rolling toward Eason, but he hasn't got first down territory yet. He's knocked down at the 27-yard line. And that's going to be shy, and it's going to be fourth down, and already the Notre Dame student body and fans know where the ball is and are urging Jerry Faust to go.
I'll tell you, I don't, not when I have John Carney on the sidelines. I kick a field goal.
Well, they're not going to do that, Paul. They're sending in Tom Monahan, a fullback, and now Alan Pinkett comes back. This is neat if it works.
Well, they've got 3 backs in there. They've got Monahan, they got Stamps, and they've got Pinkett.
You think of power I, and that's what we see. Pinkett, and he does not get it. I don't think. Whoa, look at this. Berline, I'm with Pinkett. Berline's got the ball and overthrows Stamps. I'm going right with Pinkett into the center of the line. So did the Michigan State defense. Berline had Stamps wide open and missed it.
And he had all day to throw the football. Jerry Faust beside himself. First of all, you should have kicked the field goal. Now, let's take a look at the play. He runs play action, and they think that Pinkett's going to get the ball. Everybody's jammed inside. You see at the bottom of the screen, Stamps coming out. Stamps is the man that's wide open. And Berline, all he has to do is lay it out in his hands. We saw that in the first game, the Purdue-Pittsburgh game, for the 2 points. Remember? With Everett?
9:26 to go, 7-all first half. Must have it going after being knocked off in game 1. By Penn State, they took Boston College, and West Virginia's undefeated. They're beating them 14-0. Tommy Neal has scored, and Gelb has thrown for a touchdown. Texas, we told you, is out in front of Missouri 7-0. And Arkansas leads Tulsa. Greg Thomas passed to Danny Sinters. But it's first down, Michigan State after the fourth down play did not work. The ball on the 27-yard line. And here's Lorenzo White, the good runner on the other side as he cuts back on the missed tackle. And now he gets outside of yet another man and has about 6 or 7 yards to the 34-yard line. Finally, the tackle is made out there by Cedric Figueroa, but that's a good run, Paul.
It's a good run. Bobby Morris, number 21, gets an outstanding block on that toss. And then Lorenzo White, watch to the right of your screen, number 21. Here's that block. On the ground you go. And all of a sudden, Lorenzo White sees there's too much traffic that way. Let's go back to this side for a little while. And almost breaks it.
Second down, and let's call it 3 to go, and flags go down. Offside, Michigan State. Now, the Spartans, in winning over Arizona State last week, suffered 100 yards in penalties. But they had something last week they've not had yet tonight. Last week against Arizona State, there were 5 holding penalties.
Foul on Michigan State. Encroachment. Still second down.
Morse goes out. Boyer goes out. And it's going to be second down and 7 to go. Second and short, and all of a sudden, a mistake. So they bring in 2 tight ends again, Roll and Mike Sargent. And they have Rising the man in motion. They haven't done the ball to him yet. And McAllister fires the ball, and it is picked off. It is picked off. And it looks like Pat Ballage who did it. Notre Dame has the ball in Michigan State territory.
All right, here's McAllister rolling to the outside. He has Lorenzo White out in front blocking. In this play here, he has 2 receivers downfield, but he's trying to throw the ball short. There's no way that that ball could have gotten to Ingram. Ballage was there, made the play. That ball looked like it might have slipped out of his hands. Not making excuses, but Ballage was right there, hit him right in the hands with the ball.
Perfect pass, wrong man.
That's right.
Inside a 35-yard line, tied 7-all. Brown comes to the right, Eason to the left. The backs are split, Stams and Pinkett. First turnover of the night. And here comes Pinkett. Oh, that's a good play. That's a good play in the backfield by Jim Ranella, who's the smallest down lineman of the Big Ten, 5'9", 210, and plays inside the tackle.
All right, folks, this is 5'9", 210. He's a defensive lineman, number 57. We talked about quickness. Look at that, off the center, where the center can't get on him. Plants can't get his hands on him. And then Ranella is there to make the tackle in the backfield for a 5-yard loss.
7-7, big break. The Ballage interception at the 35. But it's second down 15. And that ball is almost picked up by Keith Fisher. Almost tit for tat. And now suddenly it is 3rd and 15.
Jim, this is the difference in the double coverage on the side. What happens, the corner rolls up, and his job is to hit the receiver before he comes off the line of scrimmage. They watch. Here, he hits him here. Now he's releasing because he knows he has a safety. And all he is doing now is playing short. But he sees Berline going to throw the ball. Fisher is there because behind Brown, there is the safety.
3rd and 15. Stands the lone setback. Pinkett not in the ball game. Berline, no pressure, gets the ball away, and that is intercepted. No, they say he did not do it. Phil Parker looking for an interception, diving. The ball was intended for Tim Brown. Parker dove at the 23. And now John Carney is coming on for a monumental type kick.
Jim, they're running some deals in the inside, and you see Ranella. Kelly Quinn goes down inside. Ranella comes back to the outside. Quinn is in Berline's face, but that was almost picked off.
This is going to be, Paul, a 57-yard attempt by Carney, who had a 51-yarder in the Aloha Bowl against SMU. He's hit 10 straight field goals from 57 yards out. He tries to make it 11 in a row, and no, he does not. The streak is broken as they call on him from 57 yards out. 7.5 minutes to go. First half. The streak is broken, but the game remains tied. Michigan State 7, Notre Dame 7. First down, Michigan State after the 57-yard field goal missed by Carney. Still tied at 7-all, 7.5 minutes to go. There goes Risen in motion. Ball at the 40-yard line of Michigan State. And here's Lorenzo White in the crowd, and he is thrown back. And it'll be second and long. Called. Carney's streak has been broken at 10. He tried from 57 yards out. This game may be a blowout either way. Maybe it'll be decided by 10 or more points. But Jerry Faust on 4th and 1 did not go for the field goal, much closer in, and then did go for a field goal, admittedly, rather than punt the ball away. Why not try for it? But Carney had a streak broken, and he still doesn't have 3 points on the board.
Yeah, Carney has a strong leg. You're in close. The problem with missing a 57-yard field goal, Jim, is that you turn the ball over to the other team on the 40-yard line.
Now we've got Ingram on the right side and Boyer in motion to the right side. And here comes Lorenzo White back to the other side on a counter play. And he picks up perhaps 5 or 6 yards, and it'll be 3rd down and 4 from the 46-yard line of Michigan State.
Jim, and what they're doing, when they put a man like either Risen or Boyer in motion, it ends up in a triple formation, so it overshifts the defense. Now they put Lorenzo White going towards that strong side, and then he comes back into the weakness of the defense, which is the weak side. But the play was made, and it was a good tackle. He only picked up, what, 5 or 6 yards on the play, but you run that every time. 2 of those is the first down, right?
That's right.
I like it.
3 wide receivers.
3rd and 5 for State.
And a lot of different offenses tonight. Lorenzo White leading the way, and there's a ball thrown on the ground on one hop to Willie Boyer. It is no good. And so now Michigan State runs out of downs.
One great linebacker on Notre Dame we haven't talked about is for Janik, but watch what he does. McAllister will think about this the next time he rolls out and throws. Here comes for Janik. He already threw. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you.
You know, when Miami lost, or I should say Notre Dame lost 3 straight games, as they did here at home last year, Janik was on the sideline, unable to play. Well, they're nuts, but he is back, as Greg Montgomery is back to punt the ball away. And that's a very high, bad kick off the side of his foot, and gets a Notre Dame bounce, and is down at about the 35-yard line. 5:57 to go. We're tied. 7 for Notre Dame, 7 for Michigan. And after that bad punt by Montgomery, Notre Dame gets a break in field. George, we look forward to it, but that is Terry Andrusak, a sophomore out of Allen Park, Michigan, and he is the quarterback for Notre Dame. And they've thrown out the entire second team. Apparently Berline is all right. They're just putting a bunch of guys out there who have not played too much thus far, and they're going to try to do something with him. So Monahan becomes your fullback. Francisco becomes a tailback, and that's Francisco taking a high pitch from Andrusak, and Francisco gets out to about the 37-yard line, knocked down by Kelly Quinn. Can I tell a story, Paul?
Do it.
In the middle of that 3-game losing streak, Jerry Faust, in your picture right there, after losing the Air Force, said he never felt worse in his life. He went home, didn't want to see anybody in his family, sat down, listened to you and me do the game, LSU Vanderbilt. LSU is beating up on Vanderbilt. He's half watching, and he hears us say, boy, is Notre Dame waiting to get Michigan, or I should say LSU waiting to get Notre Dame down here next week. He said, we really made his day. If he could have felt worse, he did. Now, there's a straight-ahead play, and Francisco has the first down. Jerry Faust shaking up the troops by putting in the second-line folks. Phil Parker makes the tackle at the 49-yard line.
Hiawatha Francisco, and this is just straight up the middle. They're coming out. They're doing some cross-blocking with the offensive lineman, and Hiawatha Francisco is there to make the play. That's just beautiful running, and the hole was there.
Chuck Lanza did a good job as a center. First down, 7-all to score. 5 minutes to go in the first half. Cusack may throw for the first time this year. He does, and Cusack cannot get the ball with Keith Fisher, the man covering. And it's 2nd down and 10 from the 49. Well, Jerry Faust in his home opener is trying everything. He's putting an entire second team.
I watched Andrusak running out here. Now watch for this. Instead of setting himself, Jim, he's throwing this ball to Cusack on the run. Now he's got time. He should set himself, turn his body upfield, and he might have been able to hit Cusack to the outside. Keith Fisher, number 43, was there.
That might be because he's never thrown a pass before this year.
Oops.
Get a little rushed. 2nd down. 10 yards to go. Sprinting out. And he's going to run the ball, and wow, you can tell he hasn't played. He took on 2 men. He took on a linebacker in Larson, And he took on a defensive end, John Jones, and Shane Buller was also there. Now, most quarterbacks would get the heck out of there.
I love your courage, Cusack, or Andrzej, but I'm going to tell you something. When you see two linebackers sitting out there, Larson and Bulla, it's time to get out of bounds. Just take the easy way out.
Ball is on the 46-yard line, 3rd down, and about 5 to go. Tim Rader steps back in. Out comes Monahan, the fullback. Eason goes to the left, Cusack to the right. And Joel Williams, who's going to pass, is the other tight end. Here's Andrzej looking set up for a tight end screen if he can. Now he can't. And Cusack is back there for the catch. First down inside the 20-yard line at the 16, but a flag is down. Maybe they had ineligible men downfield, I'm not sure.
I got to believe they had an eligible man downfield. Good call, Jim, and it's true.
It looked as though they were setting up for a tight end, and when they didn't go to Belk, everybody released, and he didn't release the ball. I'll let you do it.
Yeah, it was Andrzej made a great play and a good throw. Cusack came back to the football, but they had all the linemen downfield, and that has lost it down. So it's now 4th down. They have to punt the ball away.
From a first down, they thought, at the 16, to having the ball move back inside their own territory at the 49, and it's going to be 4th down.
Ineligible receiver downfield, Notre Dame. Lost it down, 4th down.
Better get your punt team on there.
Ball at the 49, 4th down, and Andrzej is still out there, and let's see. They've got 23 seconds to get out and get this thing done now. Very quickly, Sorensen comes out, and very quickly, that is Morse back. They're going to let this ball go. Let's see where this one goes. Hitting, and...
Oh, no, don't carry it into the end zone.
He's going to mark it at the 1. Now they're saying it is in the end zone. That's got to come out. Got to come out to the 20-yard line. One of them is stopping with the other saying it's a touchback.
We're not a company.
4:23 left in the half. Once the half is over, George Grant will be around with all the football reports and a special feature on George Perlis, the Michigan State coach. He's trying to bring the Spartans back and has done a good job thus far. Was a touchback, does come to the 20. First down, Michigan State. We're all tied at 7. Gates is in at fullback, and Craig Johnson is going to give Lorenzo White a rest at tailback, and that's Gates, the big fullback, who had 38 carries a couple of years ago against Minnesota, only to have that team record eclipsed by Lorenzo White's 39 carries. Now a flag goes down as a bunch of the folks begin to mix it up down at the 25-yard line. And another flag goes down. Somebody must have said something.
I think so.
I think so, because nobody was pushing anybody then. Let's see, a Notre Dame man walked by one of the officials, and the other flag went down, and that's just what we're looking at. That's not conjecture who did what.
Dead ball, personal foul. That way. Dead ball, personal foul. That way.
No kidding. How many times have we heard that?
That way. I like that, though. It's better than offense and defense. That way.
But you know what's going to happen. There's George Perlis on the far side. Halftime feature with him at the half. All of the scores of the games going on tonight and what happened this afternoon.
I want to see Risen get the football in his hand.
Well, he's on the left-hand side, and the man over there with him is Marv Spence. But he's going in motion the other way. And Spence is going right with him. There's McAllister handing off. Lorenzo White is back in the ball game, and he's going to be thrown down by Haywood. Another good play by Haywood, making his first start of the year. A loss back to the 21-yard line. 3rd down and 9.
They tried that same quick draw back to the other side. Here comes Risen out now in motion to watch. He's just going downfield. He knows the play's going away. Spence is there. A little chick. That's a right hook by Spence. And now a little shot there.
You don't think he's pumped up playing it tonight, do you?
Yeah, but I can never understand why anyone would want to punch someone in the helmet. It doesn't take a whole lot of smarts to do that.
Ingram comes to the left. Morse flanks to the right, and Risen is the wide receiver to the right. 3rd down. Nearly 10 to go. And McAllister in trouble, and is still in trouble, and down he goes. And that is Wally Klein, who finally put him down. Number 96. And Greg Montgomery, remember, had a bad kick the last time around. He's going to be called on to kick again. Time has been called.
All right. Now, Wally Klein, number 96, is the man that's going to eventually get to McAllister. And that's Dingens that misses him 92. But here comes Klein in. That defensive line is really hustling. They only did it with a 3-man rush.
All right, we have 2:53 to go. First quarter, there's an 82-yard drive with White going over around the left side from 4 yards out to make it Michigan State 7, Notre Dame nothing. Notre Dame got the ball back, had to punt it away, then got it again and marched 54 yards. And Berline hit Tony Eason, who was all by himself in the end zone for 17 yards, and it's a 7-7 ball game. Later, Ballage intercepted the pass. Later, Notre Dame got the benefit of a bad kick, but on each occasion, Notre Dame was unable to score. And by the way, as you take a look at other scores around the country, Notre Dame did send in its second-string quarterback. We were just told from the bench that they were sending in the second-team period. We will see whether or not Berline comes in. Berline, excuse me, Steve, didn't mean to mispronounce your name. Whether or not Berline comes in after this punt.
Well, Notre Dame took a timeout on that last play, so they have 2 left. And it looks like they're going after the punter. They've been going after him all night.
Remember, he only had a, what, about 15, 18-yard punt last time around. And they're not really going after him. And this time he kicked it right off the side of his foot, but it's getting a good roll and will go out of bounds at the 42-yard line. That is where Notre Dame will start from with 2:46 to go. Montgomery, a transfer from Penn State who kicked so well against Arizona State at home and got a good first punt tonight, has now hit 2 bad ones in a row.
I just wonder if he's taking his eye off the ball and looking at him coming. Just take a look at his head. Now, his head should be down, looking at the ball, the extension, and he looked at just at the end, Jim, where he peeked, and if you take a look at his foot, it's turned sideways and went right off the side of his foot.
First down, and it is Berline who is back in as the quarterback.
First team back.
42, Berline with the ball, puts it on the far side, and over there is Reggie Ward, and he stops the clock. The catch is good. The ball's at the 43. The clock stopped with 2:41 to go.
It looked like he bobbled the ball, but you don't see anybody on that Michigan State sideline saying anything, so obviously it was a catch. Now, one of the coaches complained and said that Reggie Ward dropped the ball. Jim, that those cornermen, unless they get help with the safety and a double coverage back there, they're playing off. Here they go again. They're playing off. Fisher and Crum are playing off 10 yards.
First down, 44-yard line. 7-7. And here goes Stans, a fullback, carrying the ball, and he is knocked out of bounds across the way by Phil Parker, the good free safety. And that stops the clock again, and he picks up some good yards again. There is Stans, a sophomore out of Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. George Graham, you've got some word about Maryland and West Virginia.
Yes, Jim, this is the way things are standing. The big matchup between West Virginia and Maryland. Maryland is leading by a score of 20-0. Thomas Allen bolts over from 5 yards out, his second TD of the game so far.
Thank you, George. It is second down and short. Pinkett does not get the first down at the 35-yard line. Jim Ranella there. That mighty man. You know, Jim knows he's the smallest lineman in the Big Ten, but when you consider a 5'9" man playing an inside down lineman position on defense, that's remarkable.
He was in a move, Jim. They had a stunt on it, and he just ran right into Pinkett and knocked him down. I mean, he's strong.
5'9", 210 out of Plantation, Florida. Clock is still running. It's down to the 2-minute mark now. This is 3rd and short. 3rd and 2 for Notre Dame. And here's Berline on 3rd and 2, and there's his big tight end Rader out there. He's got the first down. They'll mark it at the 26-yard line. Tom Rader.
Jim, Rader just runs an underneath route, and Shane Bulla lets him go as he comes across. Now, see number 41, Shane Bulla, he's backing off. Now, here comes the tight end in front of him. Berline sees him. Parker, number 32, is that Parker? No, it's 20. The other linebacker, Stradley, did not make the play.
First down, 25-yard line. They mark 7 all, and Notre Dame trying to get on the board. Remember, they had Carney. If they don't get to 7, almost as short of a 3. Here's Berline throwing, and oh, the ball is bobbled by Eason, and that's what George Perlis was talking about. Give them the pass in front of you, and then Keith Fisher, in this case, made him pay, and Eason lost the ball.
He did, too. Eason thought, boy, this is going to be a nice, easy catch.
And then reality in the form of Keith Fisher hit it. It is second down. And now Reggie Ward comes back in, and Tom Rader, who just caught a pass for a first down, comes back in. Eason comes out. Ward goes to the left. Tim Brown goes to the right. And the backs are split. 1.5 minutes left. There's goal line to Pinkett. Beg your pardon, that's Stams, 30, not 20. Stams gets down to the 20-yard line. Todd Crum getting up. And let's see who's down at the bottom. Shane Bullock, the middle linebacker, down at the bottom. 1:22 to go. Third down, time called, and Paul and I will be down in Fort Worth, Texas next week. Texas Christian with Kenneth Davis, their All-American prospect running back, and 5 others suspended for the year because of illegally accepting gifts from members of the alumni. And Jim Wacker, the coach down there, blew the whistle on his own men, will play Southern Methodist. And Paul and I will be there next Saturday night. They won today, by the way, TCU. Thursday night, we start our Thursday night college football. All games starting at 9 o'clock Eastern time. And you'll see some of the best Division I, A, and AA players in those games. Jim Kelly and Mouse Davis will be there for the first telecast this Thursday night. So a doubleheader on a couple of different days. In other words, we got the first half of a doubleheader on Thursday night, then we come back from Fort Worth on Saturday night. Third down and 5, 1:22 to go, 7-all to score. The ball for Notre Dame on the Michigan State 20.
Jim, and I'd look to Rader, the big tight end, number 90. He's been running free in that secondary. Of course, the wide receivers are open too because, again, we repeat that the corners are playing so far off. But in this situation, you would expect to see double coverage on the 2 outside guys, which means that the linebackers are going to end up covering that tight end going across the middle or down the middle.
Notre Dame, first home game of 1985. 60th straight sellout, and anxious moments for fans of both squads. Erline gets the ball away, and out here making the catch is Brown. 1 out of bounds, stops the clock at the 9-yard line. With 1:17 to go, and a first down. First and goal to go for the Irish.
Jim, you could throw, again, you could throw this play all night long. To take a look at Keith Fisher, 43. He is giving Brown all the room he wants. Not only is he giving the deep staying off so deep, Jim, but he's so far away from the sideline, and all Brown did was go down about 4 yards and break it to the outside and picked up the first down.
And probably went back to Steve Burlon and said, hey, let's do that again. Out comes Williams, one of the tight ends. Tim Brown and Reggie Ward both go to the left. The other tight end in there now is Gusevich. And here's Burline looking into the end zone, and that ball is picked off. And picked off on a fine play by Bobbitt. And Notre Dame has scored it. The strong safety comes over. They had a first and goal to go from the 9 and threw the ball halfway across the field, hung it out there, and Bobbitt had the easy catch.
I have no idea where that play came from, but I'd throw this one out of the book. Here comes Bobbitt, Paul Bobbitt, and he's covering Brown man-to-man. He just steps up in front because he knew he had help from Todd Crum, the cornerback, on that side. Just a great play by the defense. Look at Bobbitt. He steps up, read Burline's eyes all the way, made the interception.
First down. Let's see how Michigan State plays it. They will give it to Lorenzo White, and he will be dragged down immediately by Ballage, the strong safety, who already has an interception in this game. That led to a field goal that was no good from 57 yards out, breaking the scheme of good John Carney. And it is second down.
All right, now we got the nickel defense. They bring in number 1, Haywood.
Seven all. You would think they play conservative here, Paul. Let's get out of this with a 7-all tie, playing at Notre Dame in our first road game and before this capacity crowd. They got away with it when Bobbitt made the interception, and now you don't want to just put something up for grabs and have them get a quick score. Time has been called again by Notre Dame. But remember, it's just third down. Notre Dame can't call time again. 27 seconds left in the half. Couldn't ask for more. Both scores came in the first quarter. White, remember, went in from 4 yards out, and Tony Eason caught a 17-yard touchdown pass from Steve Berline. But what a couple of chances Notre Dame has had. First down from the 9. And George Prolas is talking to Bobby McAllister, and Jerry Faust wants to talk to his defense. As Haywood over there and Spence, Janik, Kiernan, they're all over there.
This game should be 17-7.
George Prolas, he's the man that invented something that in Pittsburgh they call the Iron Curtain. It took him to help take him to 4 Super Bowl wins. And 3 years ago, really just a little over 2 years ago, he went to Michigan State. And at halftime, we will have a feature on George Prolas, Michigan State graduate, now the head coach. And there's Jerry Faust, one of the most likable men you will ever see. And we know the kind of pressure he's under, but he handles it extremely well.
I like what Prolas had to say about Chuck Noll. He was my old coach at San Diego. He said he brought in all college coaches that didn't really know that much and taught us his system, and what a job Chuck Noll did with his people.
Now McAllister will put his knee down, and that can be just about it. They can let this thing run out. 17 seconds to go on the clock, and on the play clock they get 25 seconds to go, so they'll all head for the locker room. Michigan State and Notre Dame, they'll go through the same tunnel and with the same score for each side on the scoreboard. Time is out here. First half at Notre Dame, Indiana. Notre Dame 7 and Michigan State 7. We'll come back, but now let us go back to George Graham.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll be back with more from Jim and Paul at halftime as we take a look at this big first half of football. We're tied 7-7 at halftime. We'll be back with the George Perles feature and more from college football after this. With Faust from the opening gun because of his high school background. Now, obviously, if he had won big right from the opening gun for Notre Dame, there never would have been a disparaging word. For George Perles, though, no one has ever questioned his background. After playing at Michigan State, he had a big tenure in the pros, and now he has the job he wants. The road back to East Lansing for George Perles included a major stopover in Pittsburgh, the Steel City, where he molded a Pittsburgh team that went on to Super Bowl win after Super Bowl win. The return to East Lansing was a dream come true.
Even though I had more luck in my coaching career working with Chuck Noll and being with the Pittsburgh Steelers, I always missed Michigan State. Coming back home is a real thrill. For me, where I grew up and my background, my experiences, this is ideal for my family and myself. The big advantage I had is having an opportunity to work for the Rooneys and to coach for Chuck Noll. I learned a great deal there. It's been helpful here. We're trying to run a program that's similar to the one we had there, which is having good people, smart people, and we believe that there are a few stars on every team, but the majority of the team is made up of a supporting cast, and what that supporting cast has to have is quality. Good people, good attitudes, and that's what we're trying to build here.
1984 produced Michigan State's first winning season since the 70s and went a long way towards establishing Perles' goal of credibility on campus.
We can coach, and we can have all kinds of ability, but without the help from the top, without the help of the administration, we really can't do much. And we have that commitment from our administration, we have the support from our alumni, our students, and our professors. And the only way to really have a program that's accepted, the only way you can really have a credibility is to be accepted by the profs, by the university, by the students. As long as they know that there are things ahead of football, as long as they know our priorities are in line, that our players' families are most important, their education is second most important, then football, do we have credibility. And without credibility on a college campus, the football program doesn't amount to much, and that's what we're striving for, is to win football games, but still to have more important things than football, that being their families and that being education.
And one of the good players that George Perles has is Lorenzo White. We've been talking about his record of 174 yards all week long. Of course, that's an opening game record for a season. Our credit to Eric Allen, who rushed for 350 yards for the Michigan State Spartans back in '71 against Purdue. But it is White, and the man who does the story for the Michigan State Spartans, who's had a lot to tell of the first half of this game. White, a 4-yard TD run, gives Michigan State a 7-0 lead. On the other side of it, Alan Pinkett's big run for a first down on a 2nd and 25 set up the only touchdown that the Fighting Irish have, and that is Easton's TD reception from Steve Berline. Zippo worth of score right there, and there you have it. After the conversions, it is a 7-7 ball game at the end of the first half. Jim and Paul will be by with a look at some first half statistics, and when we return, we'll bask in the splendor of the band presentation at South Bend.
Game tied at 7. They've got every kind of statistic in the world about Jerry Faust and his coaching here, and here's one of them. When tied at halftime, the Irish are 2-3, and we are tied at halftime. Remember, Notre Dame won the toss and elected to exercise their option at the second half. So we will have Montgomery kicking off as Notre Dame, of course, will elect to receive the ball. And Tim Brown and Hiawatha Francisco are the deep men. Short kick. They're going to let Brown handle a short kick. He takes it to the 7-yard line. Good speed and a lane to go on. And there goes Tim Brown across the 50. And goodbye. Tim Brown will score. Adding 2 yards. No flag.
I hope there weren't a lot of people out eating hot dogs at halftime. Get back to see this. Tim Brown, he just makes a cut. Once he goes into the wedge, he makes a cut to the left, and he just outran everyone. What a beautiful run. Those are the kind of runs, Jim, you don't even get tired when it's over with.
That may be what the Irish need. They could have been leading by 10. They went and tied at 7, and now they got a 6 and maybe a 7-point lead as Carney comes on to kick the ball. And indeed, they have a 7-point lead. It is 14-7, Notre Dame.
Jim, when you see Brown here on this kickoff return, watch the move that he makes when he gets up into the wedge. He'll move it to the left, and once he does that, no one's stopping him. The outside people are trying to convert. They overrun it at that point. Now, when he gets outside, that's Larson, number 3, that misses. It's all over. No one's going to catch Brown. He is gone.
Officially, 93 yards for Tim Brown. But the scoreboard is what matters. The Irish lead by 7, and now Michigan State, with only 11 seconds off the clock, find themselves down by a touchdown. The last time that Notre Dame returned a kickoff for a touchdown was 3 years ago. Alan Pinkett did it against Penn State. It sure does help when you get one in 11 seconds instead of working all that time and coming up short.
What a great run.
And now it is Greg Johnson who is deep, and John Carney to kick off. That is the electrifying play of this day. Here is Carney. 10 consecutive field goals until called on from 57 yards out. He hit a 51-yarder in the Aloha Bowl as we showed against SMU. Did not get the 57-yarder. That broke his. They've got every kind of statistic in the world about Jerry Faust and his coaching here, and here's one of them. When tied at halftime, the Irish are 2-3, and we are tied at halftime. Remember, Notre Dame won the toss and elected to exercise their option at the second half. So we will have Montgomery kicking off as Notre Dame, of course, will elect to receive the ball. And Tim Brown and Hiawatha Francisco are the deep men. Short kick. They're going to let Brown handle a short kick. He takes it to the 7-yard line. Good speed and a lane to go on. And there goes Tim Brown across the 50. And goodbye, Tim Brown will score. Adding 2 yards. No flag.
I hope there weren't a lot of people out eating hot dogs at halftime. Get back to see this. Tim Brown, he just makes a cut. Once he goes into the wedge, he makes a cut to the left, and he just outran everyone. What a beautiful run. Those are the kind of runs, Jim, you don't even get tired when it's over with.
That may be what the Irish need. They could have been leading by 10. They went and tied at 7, and now they got a 6 and maybe a 7-point lead as Carney comes on to kick the ball. And indeed, they have a 7-point lead. It is 14-7, Notre Dame.
Jim, when you see Brown here on this kickoff return, watch the move that he makes when he gets up into the wedge. He'll move it to the left, and once he does that, no one's stopping him. The outside people are trying to convert. They overrun it at that point. Now, when he gets outside, that's Larson, number 3, that misses. It's all over. No one's going to catch Brown. He is gone.
Officially, 93 yards for Tim Brown. But the scoreboard is what matters. The Irish lead by 7, and now Michigan State, with only 11 seconds off the clock, find themselves down by a touchdown. The last time that Notre Dame returned a kickoff for a touchdown was 3 years ago. Alan Pinkett did it against Penn State. It sure does help when you get one in 11 seconds instead of working all that time and coming up short.
What a great run.
And now it is Greg Johnson who is deep, and John Carney to kick off. That is the electrifying play of this day. Here is Carney. 10 consecutive field goals until called on from 57 yards out. He hit a 51-yarder in the low hop bowl as we showed against SMU. Did not get the 57-yarder. That broke his streak extending back to last year. He had all the points last week against Michigan.
I think they'd at least be able to get him a pair of shoes that matched.
Don't you think Craig Johnson's not back there thinking, if Tim Brown can do it, I can do it? But this ball is going to send him way over to the side and will go through the end zone, and there'll be no chance for that. They will come out now to the 20-yard line. Bobby McAllister was the starter. Remember, Dave Urema is down. Here are the statistics of what happened in the first half.
Really no surprise. I mean, Notre Dame, they've got about 80 yards more than Michigan State. In this game, I thought should have been about 17-7 favor Notre Dame at a halftime, but the mistakes in the play calling that they had in the first half. The hitting's there.
Bobby McAllister comes out again. He is the quarterback. Morse 21, Lorenzo White with the ball 34, and this fella can fly too, trying to get outside. Dowdich is not the man who makes the play. Mike Larkin is the man who makes the play. The linebacker on that side, number 42. Second down and long. Lorenzo White, second time he carried the ball last week, 42 yards for a score against Arizona State. Second time he carried it today, he went for better than 30 yards and a first down. Now Ingram, who caught a couple of passes from McAllister back in the first half, comes wide to the right. Border is left, and Lorenzo White's got the ball, and down he goes. Fine submarine play by Furjanic. The inside linebacker, number 58, submarined and made the play, and it is third and long for Michigan State.
Furjanic that time, it just looked like the two inside linebackers. Furjanic, in particular, number 58, they made an adjustment on that rollout draw play to Lorenzo White. And you'll see Lorenzo coming out. Here's the kind of roll draw, and he's going to cut back. But when he cuts back, there's Furjanic right there to make the play. He's not overrunning the play now, staying at home.
Third and 11. Or Michigan State will have to give up the ball if they're not successful here. And here comes McAllister rolling out. Better get rid of the ball. No, he does not, and it's a good choice because he gets the first down, and he has learned something. He gets out of bounds. This redshirt freshman coming in dead on was Steve Lawrence, and he quickly ducked out of bounds.
Well, Jim, if you're going to throw against Notre Dame, the best time to throw to them against them is on first down, because they're basically into man-to-man. And that's where you're going to get Rison, number 1, and Ingram with one-on-one coverage with the cornermen. Here is the time to throw the ball.
They have not gotten the ball to Rison all night long. They've not even thrown in his direction. He has flipped to the right. Flipped to the right. Troy Wilson is on him. But they give the ball to the up man, and that is Keith Gates, who's coming at fullback, and Gates goes from the 33 to the 40-yard line, a pickup of 7, second down and 7. Steve Lawrence, a free safety, made the stop. Second down and 3, I should say. Matter of fact, as they now spot it closer to 4. 14-7 Notre Dame. The crowd electrified by the 93-yard kickoff return of the second half by Tim Brown. What a difference between this week and last week. Second half kickoff. Jefferson has handled the ball, tore up his knee. Michigan got the ball and went in from 14 yards out. Today, Brown gets the ball, goes 93 yards for a score. That is Lorenzo White. Did I see a flag go flying in there?
Yes, you did. They're going to have holding.
Mike Larkin's clapping his hands. He likes it. It would be 3rd and 3 or 2nd and about 8. So what are they going to do? They want the yardage.
I would penalize this team for the simple reason that the defense is playing so strong. In a 3rd and 3 situation, you got a chance for Lorenzo White to pick up on a running play. They're gonna take the 10-yard penalty.
They had 5 holding penalties against them last week in the game with Arizona State. This is the first tonight.
Holding on Michigan State. Still second down.
Second down. I said it'd be 8. It'll be 13, of course. 14-7, as we said. Notre Dame, with that Tim Brown return of the second half kickoff, has the Irish on top. 12:40 to go, 3rd quarter. Gates remains your fullback. This is McAllister, and he gets a couple of good blocks, but he's still running. He's got time, and he's got a man right here who falls down. And that is a tight end, Butch Roll, trying to get back to the ball. Not a well-thrown ball, but Roll slipped trying to get back to it.
Well, the ball was never there anyway because McAllister did not set himself when he went to throw. He was trying to throw the ball on a run, and he had plenty of room. He had blockers back there. He got by Dingens, number 92, and once he got to the outside, all he had to do was just pull up, set himself, and then throw the ball.
Remember, the Spartans are playing without Dave Urema, the quarterback who led them to victory last week and 2 years ago here at Notre Dame Stadium by throwing 3 touchdown passes against the Irish. He's out with a thumb injury. As George Fuller said, any other position on the team he'd be playing, but as a throwing quarterback, can't. That is Ingram in motion. And here's McAllister, gets a good block from Lorenzo White, comes back the other way, and now he's in deep trouble. Deep trouble. And almost threw an interception right there. Almost went right to Eric Dorsey, the nose guard, who had a clear field ahead of it. It's 4th down.
Are they going to call that? That was Haywood, number 1, that was there. McAllister goes out. Now look at Lorenzo White is blocking on Haywood there. Now Haywood not going to stay down. Now he's coming back, and he is the man that's chasing McAllister. When he goes back, he grabs him, and it's not a grounding. He was trying to throw the ball away, and the official called it incompleted pass.
Red Montgomery wants something better than what he's had his last 2 times out. He wants a decent kick. Roy Wilson is deep. He's not kicked well the last 2 punts. Here they come, and this time he's got one. Wilson chasing it down at about the 30-yard line. And he's down the sidelines and out of bounds, they say, on the 42-yard line. 12:09 to go in the 3rd quarter at Notre Dame. And it's Notre Dame 14, Michigan State 7. Castrol, motor oil engineered for smaller cars. And by Mazda and the full line of sophisticated Mazda products. Ball at the 42-yard line, 14-7 Notre Dame. First down Notre Dame, and 10 to go. The difference in the ball game, a 93-yard kickoff return by Tim Brown to start this quarter.
Give the ball Pinkett, and throws short outs to Ward in the Brown.
Both wide receivers, Brown and Ward, are on the right side, but here comes Brown back this way. And he's going for Brown, and it may be picked off. Nope, it's off the hands of Brown. And that was a play in which Todd Crum got his feet all tangled up. He was in good position, and I think he's a little anxious, or he's slapping himself as he goes back because he had a shot at that ball.
First play out of the box. I'd like to call a play-action pass, but I might have thrown it out here in a flat where you have time to throw the ball. Now look, the protection is there. No one getting close. That's Lester trying to get in there. He can't get in. But Crum played this ball extremely well with Brown. He's there.
You saw Mike Perino blocking on that replay. He's the best pass defensive man they've got. Here goes Pinkett, and look out, it's another big play. Pinkett dragged down inside the 35-yard line. And dragged down by Todd Crum again. First down, Notre Dame. They lead by 7 at the Michigan State 32.
Jim, that hole was there, and Pinkett looks like he was going wide, and it's a play we saw in the first quarter. Now watch, he sees the blocking. Now he'll cut back to the left-hand side, and when he does that, the man that saves the touchdown is going to be Crum. Everybody's overrunning the play to one side. Pinkett cuts back. He doesn't see Crum. Crum almost stole the ball.
Pinkett already has 87 yards, and the up man Stams does not get much. Second down. You know, Paul, that Notre Dame has the toughest schedule, as portrayed by College and Pro Football Weekly, of any school in the country. Now, they had last week Michigan. They got Michigan State tonight. Next Saturday, Purdue. Then the Air Force has beaten them 3 straight times. Then Army that knocked off Rutgers today. Then Southern Cal in the top 5. Later on, Navy, Ole Miss, Penn State, LSU, and Miami. It is the toughest schedule in the nation. And should Jerry Faust's crew win tonight, it ain't over. It's just 1-1 and a big schedule to go. Second down and long. Here's Berline. Retreating, setting up. Well, that's Stams on the little screen play, and a flag goes down. Stams goes down inside the 30, and a flag went down in the same area.
There's going to be a holding penalty down there, or a clip.
Already Michigan State is saying that referee John Nealon will put it the other way, and as you said, it is a clip.
Jim, when Notre Dame fakes to Pinkett, and he goes up into the middle, no one covers him. You can see Pinkett take the fake. They ran a screen to Stams on the outside. But when they fake to Pinkett and he's standing in the middle of the field, there's not a soul there.
I asked you a question before, or at our pregame show. Do you think that the quickness of Michigan State will be able to stand up to the size of Notre Dame?
On Notre Dame, still second down.
I think the quickness has been able to stand up to Notre Dame. The only problem that they've had is the corners covering the outside people. And if you're looking from up here down there, as a coach in the box, you say, hey, let's just throw little short outs to Ward and to Brown. Those little 5-yard, 6-yard patterns, you can throw those all night long.
Second and 20, and Ward and Brown are your wideouts. Pinkett. He fake pitch to him. Berline keeps the ball, and look out. Here's a crowd, and this time Berline goes down at the 36. Andrzejczak, his replacement, did not go down earlier.
Well, Jim Brown came off the line, didn't do anything. Pinkett rolled to this side, and Brown's just walked running downfield like it was supposed to be a running play.
Third down and 13 to go. You know a name that we've not called a lot tonight? Anthony Bell. And they think the world of him as a strong side linebacker. Shane Bulla has been getting his share of calls, doing a great job as a middle linebacker.
You want Anthony Bell to make a tackle?
Why?
This time he will make a tackle.
Okay. Third down.
You better cover that tight end first.
10 minutes to go. Third quarter, 14-7 Notre Dame. Here's Berline. Gets the ball away, and there's a fine catch out there. Was that Reggie Ward? They're saying he's out of bounds. Was that Reggie Ward down there, 83? I can't see behind all of it. It is Reggie Ward, but he was out of bounds. And now it is fourth down, and you would assume that Carney will come out. And he's coming out, and he's going to be called on for another big one of better than 50 yards. This one about 52 or 3 yards. He's missed from 57 yards out.
This will be 53.
He had made 10 in a row before missing at 57. Got kind of a crosswind. From 53 yards out, that ball is up, and it is off to the left. With 9:45 to go. That is 2 he has missed tonight. Both of them longer than the one that he hit in the Aloha Bowl at 51 yards. Tried from 57 and from 53.
And look at this reaction. Does he know? They're the first ones to know. That ball was way wide.
Summertime, saving.
Moon over Notre Dame, Indiana, or at least half a moon on this September evening. 9:45 to go. Third quarter, 14-7 Notre Dame. First down, Michigan State at their own 35, and Mike Kiernan is now in at nose tackle number 99 for Notre Dame. And there's the fake, nice fake, and they're putting way up the horizon, trying to get it to him. He's under double coverage, and almost a great interception by Troy Wilson inside the 15. They had two men right with Rison, and that's remarkable because Rison has blazing speed, and Notre Dame was right there with him.
Well, Rison ran towards the middle of the field, but Troy Wilson never gave way. Watch this. Troy Wilson doesn't take any of the fakes, and Rison's running towards the center of the field, and McAllister threw the ball down behind him to the other side. He had no chance at that ball. The only man that did have a chance was Troy Wilson.
It is second down 10 from a 35. 3 of 10 for McAllister. Hit his first 2 in a row. First 3 in a row. And hasn't in the last 7. Here's Lorenzo White. They have not used him too much effectively lately. And that is Mike Larkin again. The outside linebacker, number 42, the senior. Out of Cincinnati and Moeller High School, where Jerry Faust made his reputation.
You know, since the first quarter, the outside linebackers are staying outside. That's a great play by Mike Larkin because what his job is to make sure Lorenzo White does not get to the outside, and he was there. Ballage, number 40, was also there to help out on the play if Larkin would have missed it. But that's good outside linebacker play.
A loss of 2, third down and 12 from the 34. McAllister, the blitz is on. They pick it up. And he's in trouble as Haywood gets it. He was the blitzing man that was picked up. And as he did a couple of moments ago, Paul, Haywood never got down on himself. He got down but got back up and made the tackle.
It's the second time that Haywood was blocked. Lorenzo White, number 34, took the fake, blocks Haywood. Haywood went on the ground, got back up, and made the tackle for a loss. That's great hustle.
And now Montgomery to kick the ball away. And Troy Wilson goes deep. Montgomery has an average of better than 40 yards. Bad kicks because his last 2 have been like this. Here's Troy Wilson at the 24. And he is surrounded by folks in white and green. Gets out to the 35, 8:09 to go. In the third quarter, 14-7, the Irish lead the Spartans. Notre Dame from their own 35-yard line, leading by 7 midway through the third quarter. And that's Pinkett, and not very far. Ball is almost taken away from him, and he says he did. He did. Bullock took it away from him. Pinkett went in, and Shane Bullock, the middle linebacker, simply took it right out of his hand.
He hit him and took it out of his hand, Jim. I'm telling you, Shane Bullock stepped up. He knew that Alan Pinkett was coming in the hole. The defensive line did their job, took all the blockers away, and Bullock hit him and took the ball away.
Ball was never on the ground. Watch.
No, your father Hank's going to be very happy with you, young man. Look at that. He hit him, took the ball away. He's got the football. Thank you.
Another turnover. That's the second the Irish have committed. And now running out as kind of a last-minute thought here. Mike Sargent. Tight end, didn't know he was supposed to be on the field. And Lorenzo White's in deep trouble, right at the line of scrimmage. That's it. Second down and 10. Michigan State has not really moved the football since in the first quarter when they took the opening drive and won 82 yards. The last 4 to Lorenzo White touchdown run.
And Larkin is limping off the field.
Boy, they can't ill afford to lose that senior out of Cincinnati. He has made 2 good plays on the last series that the Spartans had the ball. Second down 10. Outstanding field position, both wide. Well, they've got Morse flanked out, and now Notre Dame calls timeout. And I'm not quite sure what this is all about. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. They had all 11 men on the field, but Larkin's not in there, and time has been called by Notre Dame. And I think Jerry Faust is wondering why time has been called.
One of the most successful and remarkable group of athletes ever at Notre Dame. Some of them played in 1942.
He's asking who called it. I guess I have no idea what he's talking about. Next week in any event, SMU undefeated and a power, but to go on probation after this regular season is over, goes against TCU, and unfortunately must report that Kenneth Davis and 5 others have been suspended for a year for accepting illegal money. That's in the news, but that's the game we've got, and I'm sure it'll be a good one, and Jim Wacker's squad will do an outstanding job. They did today in winning a ball game by just 2 points. NCAA career leaders among the active folks. Pinkett of Notre Dame leads McCallum of Navy. Navy is now 0-3. How about that? Dalton Hilliard of LSU. LSU's having a good year. And Bo Jackson.
Jackson.
Boy,
Heisman Trophy winner.
Oh.
Jim, just there's one thing to keep in mind in this game, that Rison, Ingram, and Lorenzo White all can throw the ball very well.
All were quarterbacks. No, I should take that back. Ingram was a quarterback, and Rison was a quarterback. And so was Belk, who plays tight end. So a lot of things can happen if George Protas' team needs something to happen. Lorenzo White, the lone setback. Roll in motion, and here comes Lorenzo White getting a good block from Roll over there, and he's got the ball, lost the football, but it goes out of bounds and still belongs to Michigan State. Roll in motion. The tight end did an outstanding job of blocking, and White gets the 10 yards plus.
Roll did get a great block. All right, here comes White. Now take a look. There's also holding right at the line of scrimmage. Roll gets a good block. Lorenzo White has the first down here. The ball is knocked out by Ballage, but fortunately for them, the ball rolls out of bounds.
14-7 Notre Dame, but here comes Michigan State. First down inside the 25. Gates is your fullback, and Gates has got the ball and 3 or 4 yards. It is second down. The difference in the game, the 93-yard kickoff return of the second half by Tim Brown. No score since the first quarter. It was 7-all until that kickoff return. It's 14-7. Now Bobby Morris is coming back in. Mike Sargent, a tight end, is coming back in. They've got 2 tight ends in there.
1 wide receiver, and that's Ingram, because they put Morris out on the flank.
He is one of the best pass catchers. And there goes Roll again, and flags go down. They didn't use all their time. They started moving before the ball was snapped. So that'll make it second down if they take it. They're going to take it, of course. Take them back across the 25 and make it second down at about 12.
Now, we had the situation in last week's game.
A dead ball, false start on State, still second down.
We had the time to delay a game. The clock ran out, and they penalized Alabama. Was it Alabama or Texas A&M? They penalized Texas A&M, and then all of a sudden Texas A&M was down there to kick a field goal, and they let the time run out because they wanted a penalty to move the ball back 5 yards, and Alabama refused it. You can refuse it at that point. They're not going to refuse this one.
Second down, McAllister rolling this way. He can run. He's inside the 20, inside the 15, down inside the 10. Almost lost the ball, but as a first and goal to go, Michigan State.
One of the things that the coach we were talking about with McAllister is that he is not only a great scrambler and runner with the ball to make things happen. The thing that the coaching staff they were afraid of was McAllister losing the ball and holding it out. Now watch when he tucks it away here, he does not tuck the ball away, and he's running with it loosely, and he almost drops the ball right here. The thing that happened to him in a lot of scrimmages, they were hitting the ball out of his hand.
They know it, he knows it, but he got away with it there. Almost lost the ball. First and goal to go. Michigan State looking for a possible tie. And Gates looking for somewhere to run and cannot find it. Mike Kovalevsky made the stop. Called his name 3 or 4 times in the first half, and that's about the first time since.
The offensive line is Watchman Wojciechowski, and they're blocking on this side. As Watchman is 62, he seems to be holding his man all right, but the problem was that Gates hesitated. And when you hesitate, that gives the defense a chance to react. Kovalevsky reacted.
Now Ingram goes wide left, and Morse will set up between himself and Ingram and the offensive line of Michigan State. McAllister rolling this way. Got to throw the ball, and does throw the ball, and the ball is up in the air and will not be caught. The intended receiver is Morris, and Troy Wilson has had an outstanding game tonight. He's the man that broke it up.
Jim Morris was in the slot. They had a triple formation to the left-hand side. Troy Wilson is there, but it looked like when McAllister rolls out now, he's going to set himself to come back, okay? And he sees Morris at the last second. It looks like if he would have let him a little bit further, Morris would have had a chance to go for the ball.
Fired the ball, led him, as you said, instead of putting it up for Troy Wilson to make the play. 8 straight passes now McAllister has tried since completing his first 3, and he didn't get any of them. Time has been called. Michigan State goes to the sidelines, and Notre Dame comes to the sidelines. The situation is 3rd down from the 8-yard line. And it is 14-7 Notre Dame. Michigan State trying to call. Tie the score. Arkansas rolling over Tulsa at halftime, 24-0. Washington looking to win its first. Some picked them to be #1 and having a tough time at leading in Houston by 3. LSU well out over Colorado State, 70-3. A future opponent of Notre Dame. BYU leading tough Temple. They had their winning streak broken, but they're coming back. In Texas and Missouri. Missouri was, well, knocked off by Northwestern last week, but here they are giving Texas a tangle, and Maryland at halftime leading West Virginia by 21 points.
I wonder if Bosco threw one to Bellini, Torkoslawski.
I love
Those
that.
guys should play for Notre Dame.
Sure. Third down and goal to go. The Notre Dame defense is back on. The Notre Dame crowd is ready as they see our cameras. And here comes Michigan State. 5:14 to go, third quarter. Ball at the 8, remember. Third and goal to go.
Now Lorenzo White, they're running, when they're running sweeps with Lorenzo White, they seem to be running him to the left.
All right, they're taking Ingram and putting him about 20 yards to the left. And now they send Sargent out that way. Here's Lorenzo White out that way. Gets around one man, and look out, Lorenzo. It'll be 4th down and goal to go from inside the 5.
He gave Ballage a face full of knuckles. The old stiff arm is back. Lorenzo White breaking to the outside. Pat Ballage, number 40, was coming up to make the play, and he just put one in your face. Here it comes. Lorenzo White out there, no one to block Ballage. Here he comes across, and watch this. That's in your face. Your goodbye.
And now Chris Caudell is on. He had field goals of 31 and 49 yards against Arizona State. This will be from a slight angle and from 21 yards out to draw within 4. Remember, all of this was set up by Bulla taking the ball out of Pinkett's hand from 21 yards out. Caudell is good, and we've got another game. Still in doubt. 5:04 to go. 14-10 Notre Dame. And the Irish, of course, will get the ball back and try to get something moving here in the third. Ball Saturday night on ESPN. We've just begun to fight, folks, and we've had some outstanding games in Pittsburgh, in Provo, Utah, at Legion Field, Birmingham, Alabama, and tonight in Notre Dame, Indiana. It is 14-10 the Irish. Montgomery will kick off. Francisco and Brown are the deep men. And we've got 5:04 to go in the third quarter.
Oh, he slipped and fell.
He just absolutely fell flat down. And Rader, the tight end, picks it up at the 34-yard line. Montgomery, punting and kicking tonight, has had some bad moments and some good moments.
Poor baby, it's been a tough night for Montgomery. But watch this. His foot's going to slip out as he plants. Zink. He almost hit it with his left foot.
You know, Greg Montgomery, it's a tough night for him and his folks watching back in State College, Pennsylvania. But the last 2 kickers, Paul, I'm sure you know, at Michigan State have been All-Americans. He is stepping into some big, big shoes. First down, the Irish by 4. And there's Pinkett. And this time he is put down hard by Ranella. And I can't get over the fact that he's 5'9".
Yeah, but he can hit you.
Oh, yeah, he sure can. Well, here it is. 7 plays after the ball was stolen away by Bulla, with Caudell hitting the 21-yard field goal. 2nd down and 10, Notre Dame.
Ranella's got such great leverage, Jim, at 5'9", 210. I mean, he's small, but he gets the job done. He's too quick.
Now here's a quick pitch back. Gets it down on Pinkett, and he is in a group of people again. They seal it off very well, led by Warren Lester, number 82 that time. And it's going to be 3rd down and long.
You know who else was there? Ranella. He was getting blocked at the line of scrimmage, but he had enough time to get down the line of scrimmage. Ranella's in the middle. They're pulling out. You don't see him yet, but the offense, they're holding all along the line of scrimmage. But just an excellent play by Lester, number 82, and there's 57, Ranella in on the play. Throw that little short out, please.
3rd down and 9.
Not now, you can't. They got double coverage on both sides.
Berline. 3rd and long. Gets the ball down here for, oh, and it is knocked away, intended for Ward, and a fine defensive play made by Todd Crum, number 35. And I want to tell you, Ward was just waiting for the ball to nestle into his arms, and Crum knocked it away.
All right, we're going to see there's a stunt going on here. You'll see Lester pull to the inside. When he pulls, Wolf, number 56, comes from the outside, but the offensive line picked it up very well. The defensive end goes down inside. The tackle loops to the outside.
And Sorensen kicks the ball away. Chance for return by Bobby Morse. Takes it at the 30-yard line, but he's in the middle of a lot of folks. It's out to about the 35, 36. That is all. And Michigan State's got the ball again. A 36-yard net punt. 3.5 minutes to go. I'm sure you all know that starting next month, October the 10th, as a matter of fact, on Thursday at 7:30 Eastern Time, the National Hockey League comes back to ESPN, and our opening battle, the Capitals and the Rangers. So we will take you all the way through the Stanley Cup playoffs. That's some of your wintertime there on ESPN.
You know, it's Thursday night football games we have. We got old Jim Kelly and Mouse Davis. Coach of the Denver Gold in the USFL is doing the color. He's colorful.
He is that. Talk about offenses. There goes Roll in motion, and here's McAllister rolling out this way, and he's going to slip and fall down. Well, we had a little drizzle today. That field, you know, as the old saying, things aren't as they appear to be. That field was brown, and they had to paint it. So it is a very slick, short-grassed field, and it is slippery. A little bit of rain today.
What McAllister has to do when he's rolling out like that, the first man he should look at is Bobby Morris, who's the back coming out of the. He's not actually in the backfield. He's in a slot position, but he was open.
Ball at the 31. It's a loss of 5. 2nd and 15. There's Lorenzo White, and he's got that little hole. Is he explosive or not? He may be at the first down marker. If it's not, it's going to be 3rd and inches to go. Ballage pulled him down.
Wojciechowski got a great block, Jim. I mean, they just did a little flip back to Lorenzo White. He's on his way to 100 yards. Eric Dorsey is the nose tackle, number 71. And just let's see what happens to him. That's Watchman is the center. He gets a piece of him, and there's Wojciechowski, what I was talking about. He gets that block down the line of scrimmage. The hole is there, and now you start chasing. Lorenzo White may have the first down. I think he might be a little bit short.
It'll be third. Well, no. Whoops, he's got it. He's got it. He's got it. What did you say?
I didn't say anything. I thought it would be a little bit short.
Ball at the 46-yard line. 2:43 to go, 3rd quarter. Up and down ball game. The only real offensive threats, remember, that resulted in touchdowns were in the first quarter. The other touchdown was a kickoff return, and that's Gates, and that's going to be another holding penalty. That would be number 2 in this half against Michigan State. But Michigan State did have one golden opportunity, 1st and goal to go, and had to come away with a field goal.
Tim, I got to believe that was Watchman, number 62, that was holding right in the middle, the center.
That'll move it back 5, 1st and 15. Whoops, holding, I'm sorry, 10 yards. Takes it back to the 36-yard line, 1st and 20.
We have holding on State, still 1st down.
Michigan State last week buried Arizona State 12-3 with 100 yards in penalties. Right now they've got 6 for 40 yards in this game.
Jim, with the way McAllister rolls out, it'd be a great time. I don't know if they have the play, but a roll out to one side or the other and throw a screen back to the far side.
Our formation, Gates remains your fullback, but this is Lorenzo White and no place to go, and a fine play by Furjanic. That's the 2nd time in this quarter that Tony Furjanic has been in the backfield to submarine Lorenzo White. Senior out of Chicago. Said he worked construction. He said, I read about all these cushy jobs that these football players get in the summertime sitting around in swimming pools. He said, what happened to me? I'm cleaning up scrap iron and loads of cement.
He's a good one.
He is one of, I think, 11 children. 2nd down and 20 to go. Morris is back in motion. And here's McAllister, and he was looking, I thought, but it's not going to be any good. I thought he was looking for the moment to Morris, but he's dragged down by Wally Klein, all 6 feet 9 inches of it. The junior out of Midland, Texas.
And he's hurt. Wally Klein was there. Jim, this is the thing I'm talking about. The roll this way. When you roll this way and throw maybe a screen to the tight end, because the whole Notre Dame defense, they're going to that side. There's Klein making the play, and he gets hit by Dorsey also, but he's down. He's hurt.
He is down, and that would seem to mean that Tom Holba, another redshirt freshman, a drop-back passer, would be the man. Now, they lost Urema last week. And one word about Dave Urema. He hurt his thumb in the first half last week, and he had to be, well, he went on to play, and he came in on Sunday, and then they discovered there was actually some damage there, so he is out. Then the question became, will it be McAllister or the man in your picture now, Tom Holba? And George Perlis and his offensive coordinator went for McAllister. He is now hurt, and so now they're down to the third quarterback in a game and 3 quarters.
I'm just trying to see where he got hurt, Jim.
I think it's a wrestling hold on top, not the actual throw to the ground. You tell me.
Okay, here's Wally Klein's number 96 comes in. Lorenzo White. I don't know if that was his man or not, but you're holding him here. And
now this right there looked like his neck.
But he's up. He's walking off the field. That's good news.
Looks like his neck was kind of bent forward, and he's moving that head around as though that was the case. But that brings in Tom Holba, was a freshman, and like McAllister at the start of this game, Holba has never taken a snap in a college football game. He is a freshman out of Lansing, Illinois. He is a tall one, 6'6". And this is a passing situation, but he may not pass here, being a freshman. They may just hand it off to get something going.
Nice time to come in a ball game.
Oh, third and 26. Let's see if they let him pass. He is a good passer, and he's a drop back. Nope, he's going to handle Lorenzo White. There goes Lorenzo White. He needs a lot more than this, and gets out near the 40-yard line. Wise decision there by Michigan State, not putting Holba on the hot seat coming in on 3rd and 26. But they will have to give up the ball again, and here comes Greg Montgomery. And Troy Wilson goes deep. 43 seconds to go and counting in the third quarter.
Well, Klein 6'9", 274 pounds, and that's why McAllister's neck is sore.
Montgomery belts it. Wilson takes it to the 20-yard line, and he is in a peck of trouble, but does get it back across the 30 to the 32-yard line with 19 seconds left. Smith put him down. There's McAllister. They're working on him, and apparently he's okay. Again in the top 20 today, Iowa number 2, buried Northern Illinois. Florida State lost their quarterback, just got by Memphis State. Ohio State buried Colorado. And here comes Notre Dame. Berline on first down, and he's got time, and he drills the ball across the way and has Ward over there, who is buried over there by the cornerback Keith Fisher. 12 seconds to go, third quarter.
Now throw the pass play back to the side. Back to the other side.
No matter who wins this game, and Notre Dame leads by 4 now. Each team has had incredible opportunities, only to come away with nothing. They're going to let this time run out here with the ball at the 45-yard line. Ladies and gentlemen, the third quarter is all over. It's a close game. Notre Dame and its home opener. They're 0-1 against Michigan State, which beat Arizona State in its home opener last week. They're playing each other, and Notre Dame is up by 4. And the fourth quarter when we come back to Notre Dame, Indiana. Jim Simpson, Paul McGuire, we've got 15 minutes of football left. 14-10, we begin the fourth quarter. Notre Dame leads 1st and 10 from their own 45. And Berline hands to Pinkett, who gets 3 or 4 yards. You know, in seeing the promotional for tomorrow's seniors event from Charlotte, North Carolina, I tuned in to see a guy that used to sit next to me in a broadcast booth, because he's now playing the seniors tour, by the name of John Brody, former quarterback. And if John's listening down there in Charlotte, I'm sorry, John, that I saw you come in with that 81. That's not what I expected.
I bet he's glad to hear that.
That's not what I expected. But he is a good golfer, and he will do well. Out of the broadcast business and on the lane. 2nd down and 7 to go. And here's Berline after the fake to Pinkett. And he's throwing, and the ball is caught down there by Tim Brown, the big play man, who returned the ball 93 yards for a touchdown with a second half kickoff. He now gives Notre Dame 1st and goal to go.
Jim, this is a perfect pass by Berline to Brown, and Todd Crum, number 35. They had man-on-man coverage on the outside on both wide receivers, Ward and Brown, and look where he puts this ball. This is absolutely gorgeous, right over the shoulder. Not an easy catch, but the ball was right on target.
That pass play covered 49 yards.
Rader comes in. Monahan comes in. Rader a tight end. Monahan a back. Last time they brought in Monahan a situation like this, they went to the power I, and they go to it again. With Pinkett the tailback, and he's got the ball, 2 blockers in front of him. Touchdown, folks. Touchdown, Alan Pinkett. Set up by the Berline to Brown pass. Tim Brown, the big man of the night, especially in the second half for Notre Dame.
And Monahan came in. He came in to block, and he got a great block on Paul Bobbitt, number 39. Number 26 is Monahan. He is in that power I. He is to the left. And there's the block he got on that he had on Bobbitt, and it's touchdown Pinkett.
Now, as Carney comes in to add the extra point, you wonder whether or not McAllister can come back or whether it'll be up to Holba. The extra point is no good. No good. And that puts them within a field goal and touchdown if you convert the extra point or a 2-point play to go ahead. It's 20-10 Notre Dame. Consecutive field goals. He's missed twice. John Carney had kicked 27 consecutive extra points before he missed that one. So a couple of streaks have been broken tonight. Now Michigan State down by 10. Our game brought to you by the financial professionals at Payne Weber Incorporated. By Budweiser, for all you do, this Bud's for you. And by the U.S. Armed Forces, it's a great place to start. And now Carney to kick off. 13:54 to go. 10-point difference in the ball game. That is Johnson. As we said, the man who is filling in, backing up Lorenzo White tonight. But he's only seen action, I guess, on one offensive play, Paul, but he has been returning all of the kicks.
I see McAllister standing over there next to the coaching staff. He has his helmet on, and he looks like he's ready to go.
Well, O'Needy has had 8 straight incomplete passes after hitting his first 3. And now let us see. Are they going to bring it out? Well, he did walk out to the goal line, but the whistle had blown. Now a flag goes down. 2 flags go down back at the 17. I wonder if it'll be dead ball foul against both teams again. We'll wait. All Big Ten officials here tonight, as we told you. John Nealon is our man who's heading it all up. And now look at this. The Notre Dame man is actually going into the Michigan State group, and that's Cusack.
I wouldn't go in there.
I wouldn't either.
All right, here we go to the touchdown. Now we're going to see Pinkett with the ball, but he gets great block by Monahan and the offensive line. They're just out in front, and once Pinkett gets to the goal line, you call touchdown before he even got there. Take a look. They're blocking down. Here comes Monahan on Bobbitt on the outside. Touchdown.
And while you're looking at that, guess what happened? Personal foul against Notre Dame. Personal foul against Michigan State. They'll put the ball down on the 20-yard line. It'll be first down.
10 at the 20.
There's Bobby McAllister. He is back in. Now, look, they pointed both ways, and I didn't hear the explanation, but they're now stepping it off, and it looks as though they're going to put it up on the 35-yard line. And now let's listen. Let's listen. Okay, he gave us that. But while we were away, he also pointed to Michigan State. Now he's going back the other way.
Yeah, this is, you know.
I don't understand it.
You know how ridiculous this really is.
Now, I mean, so he's going back to the 20. Now let's see what Nealon does.
We have a dead ball, personal foul on Notre Dame, 15-yard penalty, followed by a dead ball, personal foul.
That's what we said.
State.
Yeah.
The end result will be 1st and 25 for Michigan State.
Oh, I see why they do it now.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
All right. They got to get the ball across the 45 as a result of all of this. And now George Prolis is out, and he wants an explanation over there from Nealon. And he's probably saying, look, if it's both, how come, what? And he's explaining.
Well, the only thing is that there is a dead ball foul. First of all, one flag that was thrown against Michigan, right?
State.
Michigan State. And then after that flag was done, another flag went up and another call. So they make the penalty against Michigan State. Then they turn around and put the ball down at that point. It becomes 1st and 10 there. Now the second penalty takes into effect. They weren't simultaneous penalties, Jim. So the second penalty against now is against Michigan State or Notre Dame, and Michigan
Why
State.
don't you go down? Why don't you go down and talk to him?
The first penalty.
What you're saying is they're offsetting penalties, and then after the offsetting penalties, there was yet another penalty against Michigan State. Okay.
Okay.
Is that shortened it up for you a little bit?
That's a lot better.
Okay.
Thank you. Boy, that was tough. All I know is it's 1st and 25.
Yeah, from the 20-yard line. 20 to 10. A lot of time left in this ball game. 13:54 to go. But they're still explaining it's all on the Michigan State side now.
Okay, here we go.
Comes
now we got
again.
another one.
Here he comes again. He's going to move it back. Maybe call this on Perlis.
Uh-oh, what's this guy?
This may be on the bench.
Dead ball. Personal foul, Michigan State. It was a correctable error. They fouled first, so we go back half the distance. Now we'll enforce the other foul.
Okay, gang. Now this has been at least 5 minutes, folks.
Now they're gonna pick up 5 yards in this
on the
deal.
25.
Now the second dead ball foul is administered against Notre Dame. It's 1st and 10.
1st and 10.
1st and 20.
1st and 20. He's got it marked at 1st and 20. Did he say 1st and 20 or 1st and 10?
He said 1st and 10.
That's what I thought he said.
Now
But
George wants to say
the stakes are for 1st and 20. But he has said 1st and 10.
I tried to touch this once, and I'm not going to do it again.
No, sir. No, sir.
Oh, please.
Yeah. Ray Dawson's asking. He's being told, but he did say 1st and 10. Maybe our official, John Nealon, meant to say 1st and 20.
4 fouls. 4 major fouls. And the only reason they only took 10 on the other one is because it's half the distance inside the 20.
Yeah, but I want to know whether or not he made an honest mistake by saying 1st and 10.
I think he should.
And it's 1st and 20. I think that's what it is, and we'll stay at 1st and 20.
And I'm going to leave that there.
Now, on the sideline, George Perlis is asking to move the stakes, and they're going to move the stakes. It's going to be 1st and 10 ball. Perlis got furious and they said, move those stakes, and they're moving the stakes. So after all of that,
they picked up 5 yards.
They picked up 5 yards. Still taking the ball on the 20. They got it 1st down at the 25.
I love it.
Dallas a little extra treater, didn't it? Here's Lorenzo White. He finds some running room and gets across the 30 to the 32-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 4.
Nothing in the world like college football.
I'm enjoying it.
I certainly am. Lorenzo White is still in this ball game.
They'll mark the ball at the 31, so it is 2nd down and 4.
George, you won your argument, George.
He's still a little hot, isn't he? Lorenzo White has now hit the 100-yard mark. Remember, when 174 yards last week, 100 yards on 26 carries. And now he's going to get a chance to go over 100, and he's going to go over 100 and a lot more, because this young man has got a lot of speed. That's a 1st down out at the 44.5-yard line.
Jim, he just made a move that's absolutely incredible. And if I compare him just at that point to Gale Sayers, I think you'll bear with me. Watch the move that he makes when he goes into the hole. He sees Ballage, number 40, coming up. Now he just dips inside, sets up the block, and moves back outside. He's at full speed. He gets the ball over the 40 to the 45 and out of bounds. Is that a terrific run?
Tremendous run. Gates goes out. Morse comes in as a fullback. 20 to 10 the score. Notre Dame. Michigan State's got the ball on their own 44.5-yard line, 1st down.
Give him the ball till he falls down and give it him one more time.
Lots of time left. 13-11 in the game. We'll give it to him again.
Oh, sure.
And he's got... Oh, look at this. He gets across midfield down to the 49-yard line of Notre Dame, where it is going to be 2nd down and a long 3.
Why he's a joy to watch run, and Pinkett's is the same way, because of the continuous effort of Lorenzo White. Now watch when he's running with the football. He sees there is no hole there. He's in trouble. But watch this. His legs keep going, turns, he picks up another 6 yards. Of course, he got some help.
Ingram comes to the left and Risen goes to the right. They've only thrown to Andre Rison once tonight, and he was double covered, and the ball was overthrown. And McAllister hands the ball off behind his back, but nothing happens there, just a couple of yards, and White does not get much more than that. It'll be third down. Matter of fact, may have lost a half a yard. 3rd down and 4.
He's got to be tired, but when you're running that well, you want to touch the ball. He reminds me of so many backs, Jim, that as the game progresses, the more they carry the football, the better they get.
They take out Robert Banks and put in Brandy Wells. So Notre Dame is in a nickel on 3rd and 5. Bobby Morse checks in as a fullback for Michigan State. And Gates goes out. And here's Lorenzo White. No place to go. And he does not have the first down. A couple of yards shy of the first down. As for Janik and company, put him down. The ball is at the 48-yard line. They've got to get it almost to the 45.
They're going to punt. Here comes the offensive line. Now, it looks like a stalemate along the line of scrimmage by the defense, and they're there. And when Lorenzo White tries to cut back to the inside is where he gets tripped up. I think he might have been able to stay to the outside, but he saw Wally Klein, number 96, coming in. Now Notre Dame's taking a timeout.
That's the second time they've done that when Michigan State has had the ball in this half. That should be their second. They're down to 1, but they are up by 10 points. 11-17 to go. 20-10. The Irish lead the Spartans.
We're not a company.
Timeout was called because Notre Dame only had 10 men on the field. Now, Paul and I are looking for a possible fake here. Larson is a linebacker. He is the up man. Maybe they'll kick it away, but Notre Dame looks as though they're playing for run or pass also. Nope, they get it back to Montgomery, and he's going to kick it away. Oh, look at this. Much too far. Go deep into the end zone and will come out to the 20-yard line. 11:09 to go in the game. Notre Dame 20, Michigan State 10. The big difference, the 93-yard kickoff return to start the second half. Arkansas still rolling over Tulsa 24-0. They are in the 4th quarter of that one. Washington, whoops, still looking for its first win by 6 over Houston in the 3rd quarter. LSU comfortably out in front. Well, they beat Colorado State 17-3. BYU behind Temple. Temple is giving a lot of people fits this year. Texas having a tough time 4th quarter of Missouri, which was knocked off by Northwestern. And Maryland trouncing West Virginia, which is unbeaten 28-0 in the 4th quarter. First down Notre Dame at the 20-yard line. Got a 10-point lead, and Pinkett's got the football. Oh, my, does he run into a man there? And that was number 56, Dave Wolf, a defensive tackle. Wolf, a junior, out of Southlake, Michigan.
Trying to do the old cutback. Wolf was standing there. Listen, it is really a hard-hitting football game.
Now Alvin Miller comes into my recollection, Paul. This may be the first time for this junior wide receiver who didn't play last week. Number 17, and he's wide to the right. There's Berline, and he puts it out here to Pinkett. Pinkett with blockers, but down he goes. And a good play made there by Bulla, who knocked him down. Others are around him, but Bulla hit him at the 22, got out to the 26, 3rd down and 4.
They ran the 2 wide receivers off, and it was a little slip screen to the outside with only 2 blockers in front of Pinkett, and I think he might have turned in the wrong way. If he'd have stayed to the outside, he might have had a better shot at a first down.
Reggie Ward comes in, and Alvin Miller comes out after that one play. Notre Dame next week goes to Purdue in the Air Force. Michigan State next week gets Western Michigan. Up, Berline comes out of there after bobbling the ball. Still running, gets the ball up, and the ball is caught across the way, and that, I think, is Reggie Ward again. First down.
Berline drops the ball, has enough composure to pick up the ball, roll out. The play is still working. Reggie Ward is going across field. Watch this. Berline drops the ball, gets it back up. He knows he has the blocking. Gives to the outside. He's looking for his receiver downfield. That's Anthony Bell, number 51, in his face, but look where that pass is, right on target. No chance for the defense, and that's Bobbitt, number 39.
Reggie Ward, 2 for 37 yards last week, caught 5 today for 64 yards. And there's the fake back. They give it to Stams, and he was absolutely stood up by Kurt Larson, the linebacker on that side.
Did you see Berline? I love it. Berline gave the ball to Stams and saw the Stams had no place to go, so he went in there and put his head in and tried to block for him.
And it is 9-10 to go. 2nd down and 10. Clock ticking away as Ward comes back in. Tony Eason comes out. And they seem to know we're here, don't they? That's nice. And next week we'll be in Fort Worth, Texas. SMU and Texas Christian. SMU unbeaten and idle today.
Tim Brown's got a lot of room down here.
But this is Pinkett carrying the ball, and look at this. That again is number 51, Anthony Bell. The man, a little while ago I said we've not been calling him, but Bell put him down there. And now it is 3rd and long. 8.5 minutes to go. Notre Dame by 10. Pinkett has carried for 95 yards so far. Remember, Lorenzo White has already passed 100 yards. We expected good running from both men. We've gotten them.
And I also said the team that throws the ball the best is going to win this football game, and obviously it's Notre Dame.
Notre Dame has had half a dozen Heisman Trophy. Look at this, right over the center, and it is picked off. Look at this. That is Phil Parker, and they're down to the 31-yard line. Burline just buried it right in the stomach.
Well, it's the tight end's fault, because reader number 90 never looked at the ball. It's an automatic check at the line of scrimmage. You watch Burline. He's popping to the tight end number 90. He broke to the outside. He was supposed to be breaking to the inside, Jim. But Phil Parker made a great play, stayed with the ball, made the interception. They had the ball at the 31-yard line going in.
2 years ago, when Notre Dame was upset by Michigan State here, Parker intercepted 2 passes. He's got one tonight. Ingram goes to the right, and Risen comes to the left. Lorenzo White now has 120 yards. He's the tailback. That's McAllister rolling out, gets the ball away, and overthrows his tight end, Butch Roll, inside the 20-yard line. It is 2nd down 10.
And the man he had wide open was Morris, Jim. He was running down. He rolled out with him. He had Lorenzo White in the back blocking, but Morris ran out into the flat. No one went with him, and he was there.
And this is another one of those opportunities that each team has had, and they've capitalized so seldom on the big breaks. There have been a couple of interceptions on each side. There's been a fumble recovery that did lead to 3 points on a field goal.
They're bringing, is that Johnson, 28 in the game?
That's right.
Looked at them to throw to him. Now they've got him split in the slot.
And they got Risen outside of him, and Ingram on this side, nearest to you. And McAllister being chased. Now he's got the speed to get away from them. And he does, and wow, just gets out of bounds as Ballage was coming up. Just did turn the corner, and now it's 3rd and long.
Dingen was after him. Dingen 92 was chasing him.
He is a remarkable young man, Paul. When he went up to play Michigan, he went to be interviewed at the University of Michigan Medical School. He has a grade average of 3.774. And he is just an outstanding man.
It's a lot like mine. But we were on a 10-point scale.
No, he's on a 4.0 scale.
Oh, well, then that's different.
3rd down and long. Michigan State trying to capitalize.
Hey, come on, get him, baby. Hey.
Freshman quarterback gets it out, and Morris makes the good play. And then drops the ball, and they say it's incomplete. I thought for a moment Bobby Morris made the good play. One hand up, 4th down. Now what are they going to do?
Field goal.
In comes Cordell, which would draw them within 7 with 7 minutes and 39 seconds to go if he makes it. But they're calling on him for a long field goal here. It would be 49 yards. Now, against Arizona State last week, Cordell hit a 49-yard field goal. McAllister hit his first 3 passes, has now missed his last 11 in a row, but from 49 yards out. Oh, it is blocked. Notre Dame's got the ball. There's no question of that. Looks like Brandy Wells. And that can really turn it around for Notre Dame with 7.5 minutes to go and a 10-point lead.
It came right up the middle. This ball never gets off the ground, though, Jim. Take a look at it. It's really low. And was that Wells that came in?
I think it was, but in any event, the ball belongs to Notre Dame, and they got a 10-point lead and the football.
Blow, that thing hit him right smack in the face. Good play.
Ball at the 45-yard line. Notre Dame has only been averaging 2 yards on 1st down all night long with a 10-point lead, 7.5 minutes to go. They'd like to do a lot better than that and kind of seal this, their home opener of 1985. and send them on to next week's difficult assignment at Purdue with a win in pocket. And this is Pinkett, and Pinkett gets a yard or two. That is all. Tacklers led by Kurt Larson, number 3. And it's 2nd down and 9.
Most of Pinkett's yardage, if you remember, Jim, in this game, he's got 96 now, 21 carries, is when he cuts back into the teeth of the defense when they're starting to override it. Everybody's keying Pinkett, you know that.
And most of his yardage was in the first half. And most of that was in the first quarter. Easton is wide to the left. He is back in. Brown is on the right side, and that's the side that Berline's rolling to and throwing to him, and Brown's got the ball and steps out of bounds inside the 35. First down, Notre Dame, with 6:50 left on the clock.
I hate to keep repeating myself, but that play has been open, and Brown is limping, but that play has been open all night long. And I always believe that you take whatever the defense gives you.
Brown limping a little bit, but he has had 2 big plays tonight, both in this second half, which started tied 7-all. Alvin Miller is in wide to the right. Cusack to the left. Stams and Pinkett the setback. And that is Stams, the fullback, and he's inside the 30 and is dragged down inside the 25-yard line at the 24-yard line. That's a gain of 9, 2nd down and 1. Phil Parker, who recently had an interception, rode him out of bounds.
Strong guard, number 52, Sean Heffron, got an excellent block pulling out from the line of scrimmage and opened that for Stams.
Next week, remember, Paul and I'll be in Fort Worth, Texas, SMU and Texas Christian. And remember, starting next week at 9 o'clock on Thursdays, we're going to have our Division 1A and AA football with Jim Kelly and Mouse Davis. Reggie Ward has caught 5 balls already. Is down to the right, but that's Alan Pinkett goes straight up the middle and dives for the first down near the 15-yard line. Pinkett goes over the 100-yard mark. So these 2 tailbacks, Lorenzo White and Alvin Pinkett, have done their jobs. Alvin did a good job here.
A little cross blocking by the 2 guards in the center, and here comes Pinkett right up the middle. The man making a tackle is Kelly Quinn, actually getting a piece of Pinkett, number 93.
102 now for Pinkett. Alvin Miller goes wide left. Cusack to the right. Notre Dame beginning to assert itself now. This all set up by the blocked field goal by Brandy Wells. Here's Pinkett again. Oh, look at this play in the backfield. That's number 83, Mark Nichols, a sophomore. Now this is another down lineman, not as small as Jim Ranella, but Mark Nichols is only 6'2", 228.
Think of little people that are quick. All right. Take a look for number 94. He just breaks through. No chance for Heffron to get to him, number 52. He's just in the backfield.
For Pinkett over the 100-yard mark, this is the 16th time he's done that in his college career, and most of those times when he goes over 100, Notre Dame wins. It is 2nd down and 11 to go. Clock shows 5:41 left. There's Pinkett again. Gee, look at that. It's right to the on-rushing men. Shane Bulla peeled back to make the stop, along with Parker, the free safety, but that's inside the 15-yard line as the Irish have the clock in their favor and the scoreboard in their favor.
It looked like Pinkett was going to get a lot, and he picked up about 4 yards on a play, but it looked that time as the defense of Michigan State had that play diagnosed because they were all there at the time. They were just firing right at Pinkett. Throwing down.
On the night before the Army game, they will show again Newt Rockne, All-American, with Pat O'Brien and Ronald Reagan. When they first showed it in 1940, they had 28,000 people waiting to see it in 2 different theaters all day and night. There's Pinkett. Look out, Pinkett. Down to the 5-yard line. First down goal to go Notre Dame. Irish pulling away the big, strong men, beginning to overcome the smaller, quicker men of Michigan State.
They weren't about to throw a pass down there. The last time it was intercepted. All right, here comes Pinkett right up the middle. The blocking is excellent, and Phil Parker saves the touchdown right here. But watch Pinkett stretch for the first down, and he got it.
Along comes Monahan in as a fullback. You know what happened last time he came in along with Stams? They had a power I, but that was to the right. This is a power I to the left. You would assume he's going to the left, meaning Pinkett. Nope, they're going to pull it this way and cross up everybody for the touchdown Stam. Everybody expecting Pinkett and the power eye. They gave it to the off-back Stams, and he scored.
They fake that toss to Pinkett, and that'll pull the defense because they are waiting for Pinkett with the ball. There's that fake and right back in. The little trap up the middle. Here comes Stam's touchdown.
His first in his collegiate career. Of course, he's only a sophomore, but
he'll be more. He's a big one.
How big? 6'4", 229 out of Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. And now Carney comes in. 27 in a row. That streak snapped last time. Burlon puts the ball down, and he hopes he's begun a new streak. As the score with 4:17 to go here at Notre Dame, Indiana, is Notre Dame 27 and Michigan State 10.
For $112 a month.
At Suburban, Michigan State 10, 4:22 to go. And Carney will kick the ball off with Johnson, the deep man, and Jerry Faust about to win, he thinks, he hopes, his first game of 1985 after the upset loss to Michigan. And didn't Michigan look good today when they went down and clobbered South Carolina and Columbia? A lot of people thought that would be a lot closer game, and now a lot of people are thinking that the University of Michigan has a very good football team led by Harbaugh, their quarterback. Carney waiting to kick off, and now they'll bring the ball out. 7-7 at the end of the quarter, 7-7 at the end of the half. 93-yard kickoff return of the second half by Tim Brown, and since then has been nearly all Notre Dame. For after all, they have scored 20 points in this half, and Michigan State has only scored 3. At halftime, Dan Devine, who is the last coach to take this team to a national championship in a major bowl, was honored. He's going into the Football Hall of Fame. Later on, Fred Miller and Paul Hornung will be honored at Notre Dame home games. Look at this kick by Carney. Johnson. Oh, look at this. He was 5 yards deep in the end zone, and there is a freshman mistake.
He just slipped and fell coming out. Now, remember we talked about Pinkett?
I didn't think he should even bring it out.
No, we talked about Pinkett. They're keying on him. Watch what Keith Fisher does. This is only a fake now. He's going out, taking the fake pitch, and then what Fisher does, he'll be right on Pinkett's face. Pinkett goes out, Fisher hits him, but here's Stam's going in for the touchdown.
Ball is at the 3-yard line. First down, Michigan State. Mike Sargent, number 49, just checked into the ball game. McAllister with Morris and Lorenzo White. He is 4 or 5 yards deep in the end zone. And they're going to give it to Lorenzo, and Lorenzo is going to get it up maybe to the 5-yard line, and it'll be second down and 8 to go from there. The clock is working against the Spartans of Michigan State, and for Notre Dame.
And as you all know, the problem with that play is that the ball gets put down at the 3-yard line, and you don't have a pure passer in McAllister, and he's a rollout type passer, and it's very difficult to roll out through your end zone, Jim, and throw the ball. So they've got to give the ball to Lorenzo White to get it out so he can operate, but the clock still runs because you keep it on the ground. I wouldn't be surprised to see him throw here.
Dave Urema, the quarterback that beat Arizona State. There's McAllister. He is out of this game, and there are 3 people back there, and it's going to be intercepted, I do believe, by, is that Larkin back there? Or is that Troy Wilson back there? Should be Wilson back there. That deep, and it is. Troy Wilson intercepts. Notre Dame's got the ball and the 17-point lead with about 3.5 minutes to go. We'll come back to an excited Notre Dame, Indiana, in just a moment. Terry Andrusak, who's already played in this ball game in the first half, is in again. Burline is on the bench with a 17-point lead. Talk about good running backs. Alan Pinkett of Notre Dame, 116 yards and a touchdown. Lorenzo White of Michigan State, 122 yards and a touchdown. Ball at the 49-yard line of Notre Dame. You would think that the Irish will keep it on the ground and run the clock down. They've got Hiawatha Francisco as the running back. He's got the ball, and he hasn't got any yardage at all. He's knocked backwards. Knocked backwards by John Jones, the senior, out of Barberton, Ohio. And he has lost a yard. Second down. Francisco, of course, as we said, called on because Alonzo Jefferson is out with a bad knee. Ray Carter was expected to back up that position also, but he had an eye problem as of Thursday night, and he couldn't play. They're very thin at the tailback spot. A proven tailback type personnel.
Walter Francisco just found out that the Michigan State team, they just don't quit.
One of the things George Perlis said, just don't quit. Just do the best you can. And straight ahead goes Tom Monahan. And Monahan gets down to the 45-yard line with Kurt Larson hanging on. And it'll be 3rd down and about 4 to go. But the time keeps going down. 2:37 and counting in this game. Now remember, Michigan State goes home next Saturday to play Western Michigan. Notre Dame's got to go back on the road for the next 2 to play at Purdue and then at the Air Force before getting Army and USC here. Mark Green, a freshman, in for the first time, wide receiver, Riverside, California. And they're going to run the ball naturally. It is 4th down, but they've done what they expected to do. They've run some time off the clock. They'd rather get a first down, of course, but they're taking a lot of time off the clock.
They dressed 117 guys. I hope they don't put them all in this game because we're not going to be able to find them all. They've got double numbers.
No gain.
Jerry Faust, we just saw him take off his headset.
4th and 4. Dan Sorensen in to kick for the Irish. Bobby Morse, deep for State.
Sorensen to kick it away. Morse, the deep man. Tell you what, not many Notre Dame folks. And time, they let the time run off the clock. They'll draw the penalty, but it took a lot more time off the clock. 1:35. Not many folks have left Notre Dame Stadium. They are savoring this.
A few people leaving now, though.
The home opener. Won by Notre Dame. They'll bring their record to 1-1. And Michigan State will take the buses back to East Lansing tonight. They will be 1-1. And they will have a home game next week before they go on the road on the 5th against Mr. Quarterback Long and Iowa. 2 weeks from now. And now Sorensen, they came on, but he gets the ball away. Morse just watches it hit on the far side of the field, does not attempt to field it, and it will go out of bounds and stop the clock at the 19-yard line. We'll be right back, and once this game is over, remember, George Grand will be here with all the scores of the day. But we've got some left in this game. Come back to Notre Dame. He said George Grand has got all of the scores, some upsets today, some injuries today. Our score is Notre Dame 27, Michigan State 10. Ball at the 20-yard line. And Michigan State has given a good account of itself without its regular quarterback. Notre Dame, after sputtering in the first half, has turned it on in the second half and leads by 17. McAllister's gone most of the way tonight, and whoops, I thought he had Mark Ingram here, but instead Dingens knocks the ball down before it crosses the line of scrimmage.
That's Greg's little brother, isn't it?
Matt, sophomore, also out of Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. That's the time left in this game. And next week, Paul and I again will repeat. We'll be watching a very talented SMU squad. And they'll be over at Texas Christian, which had a lot of talent, but has lost some of them, suspended for the year, including Pat Davis, their good runner. But Jim Wacker hasn't lost yet this year. You never know what's going to happen to those two. Well, Dallas and Fort Worth don't like each other anyway. One of them. Look out, McAllister. He does get away from one, and he throws downfield and misses his intended receiver, Risen, at the 28-yard line.
This poor kid's been running all over, running for his life. McAllister, and you know, we talk so much about Risen through the course of the game. We know how quick he is and how fast he is and all the things, but they have not been able to get the ball to him at all.
Hunter Risen, a freshman out of Flint, Michigan, where he was a quarterback. Vino Belk was a quarterback in Flint, Michigan also. And Mark Ingram was a quarterback in Flint, Michigan. And all three are playing a receiving type area. Belk at a tight end, and Ingram and Risen, of course, are wide receivers. A lot of talent on the Spartan team. Carlos has a good program underway, and Notre Dame hopefully is underway for the '85 season. Look out, he can run, but this is not what he wants to do here. Throws out to Ingram, who steps out of bounds, shy of the first down. It is 4th down at the 26-yard line.
I just, you know, I sit here and I look at this Michigan State team, and I'm not taking a thing away from Notre Dame because they came back in the second half and played very well.
Dominated.
But you wonder what this team, Michigan State, would be like if they had an experienced quarterback with this football team.
You know, when they walked off the field last week, Paul, after beating Arizona State, they thought they had their experienced quarterback, Dave Arena. It wasn't until Sunday that they discovered really what was the matter with his thumb and that he could not play. Greg Montgomery to kick the ball away, and Troy Wilson, who's had a good night in the secondary, is deep to return the punt. Montgomery line drives it. It'll hit at the 35, and Wilson wisely lets it go out of bounds at the 14 with 51 seconds to go. Notre Dame will try to run this clock down. After all, they lead by 17. As we said, next week, we will be in Fort Worth. SMU out of Dallas, Texas Christian out of Fort Worth. The cities and the schools collide, and you'll see it at 7:30 Eastern time here on ESPN.
During that pass that Bobby McAllister completed to Ingram was the first pass that he has completed since the first quarter of this game.
On Thursday, remember, we begin our special Thursday night. Fullerton State and San Jose State, and Jim Kelly and Mouse Davis, the man with the run-and-shoot offense, will be out there to bring it to you. 51 seconds left. Still there, hands off. Here's fullback Monahan, and he is being dragged along there. Right with him is Robert Stradley, a reserve linebacker.
Miles Davis was funny. He looked at both of these rosters of the wide receivers in these two teams. He said, I can't use any of them. They're too big. They're all 5'11" and over. He likes them like 5'6", 5'7", 5'8".
Michigan State is called timeout. They don't give up, down 17 with 34 seconds to go. George Grand will have all the scores of all the games for you. Here's what's happened in our game. First quarter, 82-yard drive by Michigan State. Looked good. Lorenzo White took it over from 4 yards out. Michigan State led. Then after punting once, Notre Dame gets the ball back, moves 54 yards. Tony Eason was all by himself in the end zone. Berline hit him. It was 7-all. Second half, Tim Brown took the kickoff, returned it 93 yards, and Notre Dame was on its way 14-7. And in the third quarter, Cordell drew a little bit closer for Michigan State. Still a game at that point with a 21-yard field goal, 14-10. But then again, Notre Dame marched, and that Pinkett, after a great catch by Brown at the 2-yard line, took it in on the first play to make it 20-10, and the Irish were really on their way. And then in the same power I formation, they faked to Pinkett, gave it to Stam to fullback. He scored, and it's 27-10. And that's where we are as they give the ball off to the tailback, Francisco. And Michigan State, I think, is going to use yet another timeout.
Well, he made a first down, so they stopped the clock just to move the change. And I don't know if Michigan State's going to take a timeout.
No, George is going to take it.
George wants a timeout.
He wants a timeout just to show them never give up. They're down by 17. Everybody knows it. But he's calling over Shane Bullock to talk, his defensive coordinator. He's had a great night.
He has. And I'll tell you, I love George Perlis calling that timeout. He's a man that never believes that he's out of a football game. I know it's 27-10 with 27 seconds. They have no more timeouts. But he's going to give his defense one more shot at him.
Jerry Faust. Heat was on after last week's upset loss to Michigan. Michigan has since proved that it is a team to be reckoned with, of course. And now he's come back and struggled through much of 3 quarters with Michigan State. But now has won this ball game going away. But as I said, he's got a fellow by the name of Everett, who throws passes for Purdue that he'll have to defend next week at Purdue.
All over the place.
Oh. And straight ahead goes Pernell Taylor, a junior fullback, and that should be it. Well, Paul, it has been a good game. And a game that was close at the end of the half at 7-all. Brown tried to open it up, but in the third quarter it was still 14-10 before Notre Dame really turned it on. Brown set up a go-ahead touchdown, and then Notre Dame powered to yet another. And Notre Dame, under Jerry Faust, has won its first game at home this year. And they're now 1-1. Notre Dame beats Michigan State by the score of 27-10. And the celebration in Notre Dame, Indiana is on. George Protas comes out. His team was undermanned without an experienced quarterback. Did the best they could, but lose by 17. Our final score, Notre Dame 27, Michigan State 10. And Paul and I will be back in just a moment with a final word about this game. One of the exciting moments in football when Notre Dame has won a home ball game, and their band takes the field to play the Notre Dame Fight March. There's the score, Notre Dame 27, Michigan State 10. Our most valuable players as we watch and listen to the band. For Michigan State, number 34 with better than 120 yards, Lorenzo White. And what a great performance he put on with some tremendous moves, Paul.
You know, if you put, here's a guy gaining 122 yards, and you know he's going to carry the football most of the time, right? If they had a quarterback in it to throw the football, you imagine this guy is going to do some 200-yard games.
And on the other side, Tim Brown, number 81, out of Dallas, Texas, 125 yards returning the ball, and he also had a nice pass catch down at the 2-yard line that made it 1st and goal to go in the 4th quarter. So there are our outstanding players. And our reminder that as we give you the final score 27-10, that Paul and I next Saturday will be down in Fort Worth, Texas at 7:30 Eastern Time as ESPN will present SMU and Texas Christian in another exciting CFA contest. That should be a good one.
You know, this SMU team, Jim, I'm going to say it now, I picked them as the #1 team in the nation. And I between SMU and Auburn.
Well, as we're going away from Notre Dame on the heels of their win, they spell out the Irish. And you know what the band is doing down on the field? For Jerry Faust, he's got a week, but then he's got a week to prepare for Purdue. And Paul